You wanted to start with the worst tank first, right? You said.
Yeah, I think starting from bottom, it will be a little bit better to keep the hype, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Let's start with Bloody Kid then. Do you think it's C or D?
I mean, historically, it was always D,
Okay.
but in the raid, it was always S. So.
No, but for real, I guess I don't think there's any. Maybe I don't know if you agree with me here, but I think all tanks are actually decent this time around. I don't think there's a. In the previous season, I feel like Bloody Kid was pretty shit. But I don't think this season a single tank is bad. Do you agree with that, or do you think there's any tank that's actually bad?
Yeah, I think before, like every season, Vladika was, I mean, probably rated in the worst. And right now, all the tanks are kind of equal, just because Vladika is looking a little bit stronger. But I would say that before, probably all 5 tanks were like 1 tier below each other. But Vladika was like jumping like 2 tiers maybe below, if we're talking about like high keys and not like low keys and pack keys. And because in low keys and like pack keys in terms of fun, like Vladika was always good because you can like glitch yourself a lot in low keys unless you're like getting one shots. So
I mean, Bloody
yeah,
is always an amazing tank up to the moment where he's one shot by high, you know. For that,
yeah,
Bloody Case. But I think personally Brewmaster is probably the weakest one. Doesn't mean it's bad, but I think it's out of 5 currently.
Yeah, I mean, if we'll be comparing to previous seasons, that Brewmaster didn't get any changes compared to previous seasons, and it just only got worse because our Celestial Infusion is 2 times longer CD than it was before, and also in terms of buffs, it's not bringing much, and for even physical comp, I think there are better alternatives. I would probably put him in like worst at the moment, but again, he has like some small benefits above other tanks. For example, like pure single target damage, probably the highest from all the tanks that you can do right now in Mythic Plus.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to put Brewmaster in mid, right? It's not bad, but it's
Yeah,
just
it is like
it
is not unplayable, but from all the tanks, probably it is looking worse in terms of like what it can bring and in terms of defensives and how much healing Brewmaster does require.
Yeah. Do you think there's any? You played in a physical comp though? I guess you could technically play it, right? If you don't play Windwalker, you play like
physical
Arms,
comp, it like
Outlaw.
all depends. Like depends what physical comp is in general and what people are naming as a physical comp. Because in physical comp it can be like 2-3 different healers, it can be 3 different tanks, and it can be like 10 different DPS specs. And you're just like making the comps around this, I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't remember the last time Brewmaster was actually meta. Like last season, it looked like it might have been meta, but then we got the Guardian Druid buffs.
Yeah, there were like seasons when it was like second best, and maybe it's like can rate him as like half of meta, or like before 0.7 patch, it was like pretty decent in the War Within season 3, I would say, in terms of damage, how much damage it was doing.
It was really strong in BFA as well. Brewmaster. Did you play in BFA?
Yeah, I was playing.
Yeah, because then Brewmaster, what's the season? It was actually meta in BFA.
It was BFA season 3.
It was because I remember Andrew was playing Brewmaster, I was playing Prot Warrior, and it was you could play either of the tanks with Versamp. But I think Brewmaster was like the sole meta. It was either season 1 or 2. I think it was season 2 where we played Brewmaster. I might be wrong here, but it was one of the seasons. I think that's the last time Brewmaster was like the best tank, you know? It's been a while.
I linked you the screenshot. Like, I don't know if you want to check it yourself in the Discord DMs.
Oh yeah. Wait, raid key. BFA season. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, maybe it was season 3. I know with Versamp, it was Brewmaster / Warrior. I think that's season. But yeah, sadly, Brewmaster is not looking to be meta this season either, but it's not a bad option. But it's probably the weakest out of the 5.
Option. It is doing decent damage, especially single target damage, which is like the most mandatory part, I would say, in keys.
Yeah. All right, moving on then to Prot Warrior. I think Prot Warrior is also kind of mid. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's defensively strong, but there's no reason to play Prot Warrior currently in a plus. I feel like there what was the dungeon we had Spell Reflect where you could pull it out as like a wild card?
Yeah, I think it is Murder Row's second boss, and how debuff is working. the boss is doing the tank hit and Venom, which is applying the debuff and also reducing targets max health by 30%. And I think in the logs it is not working like super correct because I think it is also counting this like minus 30% health reduction, which
That's gonna get
is
fixed though.
basically getting leached back after the debuff is running out.
Oh,
So it's only
okay, I
for
see.
the debuff duration. But
Yeah.
I mean, Prot Warrior is bringing like better utility, better raid buff than Monk. So
Would you put it in A tier then? Because I don't feel like I feel like I maybe need to make one more tier. I don't think it's as strong as other Bloody Kiss in the tier in its own. I don't think it deserves to be in the same tier as
I mean, I
VDH,
would say
Guardian, and
that
Protpala, but
I would say it's a little bit stronger because you have a lot more control. As Monk, you only have like in-cap, leg sweep, and Ring of Piss. On Warrior, you have single target silence, AoE silence. You have 2 single target stops, and you have Shockwave, which is 24 seconds cooldown, and also can be knock up if you're playing Colossus, which means it will not be DR'd. Plus, Rally is way stronger right now.
we just
like
put,
Rally right now is 16 seconds long and given like 15% health or 18% health, which is like better than Darkness, better than like AMZ. And 5% physical, 5% auto attack power, which is like working with more classes than Monk buff. And also working with like some range classes, for example, like all Hunter specs. It just like feels weird to play after how good it was in the War Within Season 3, when you had like 100% shield block uptime, when you didn't care about this because of the bolster talent, like perma avatar resets, and right now it's just like weaker version of it, and it's like just like doesn't really make sense to play it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Would you play Colossus or Mountain Thing though now? Because you used to always play Mountain Thing.
Yeah, I think they're pretty equal right now. I think Colossus is like less fun also right now because you cannot reset Demolish anymore and there is fixed cooldown. Colossus might be a little bit better because of the buff that you're getting 10% haste, so it should increase your shield block uptime. And if mobs are not hitting you, you can also do a little bit more damage because you have the multiplier on the Revenge.
Yeah, but it's quite rare that you go for damage on a tank when you do high keys. I mean, there's like some rare situations, but
yeah, I think Thane might be tankier like overall, and it's like easier to get aggro because clap CD is shorter, and you can like spend 2 claps at the same time with clap avatar clap.
Something with Colossus I hate is like getting aggro on, like Revenge is just quite annoying to play, not gonna lie. I think we move on because I don't think any tank is bad, like I said, but these two are probably the two biggest ones. Which one would you? I think Guardian Druid is. So here's my take, right? I think Guardian Druid is good, but I don't think it's as strong as Protpala and Vengeance and Blood, of course. But the thing is, if you play physical comp, I thought about this earlier, where there's been 8 seasons since they changed Mark of the Wild to be a verse buff, and if you play physical comp, you don't really want to play Feral or Boomkin currently, I think. We'll see about Feral later when the guy talks about it. But if you play physical comp, you play Arms, Windwalker, Outlaw, and then you play a Resto Shaman or Holy Follow Days, so you need a Resto Shaman. Then you kind of need a Guardian Druid, or you play without verse buff. So I feel like with Guardian Druid, it just gets value from verse buff. Because I don't believe.
As you said, like from the moment they changed Heart of the Wild, Mark of the Wild, it was mattered like every single season. So like
it's been eight seasons.
Years.
Eight seasons. Always a Druid in a group. So
and I mean, I would say it would be weird to not play Druid in physical comp. I mean, not sure how good Feral is, but for physical comp, Guardian Druid is pretty good alternative because you can also be playing right now the physical, like the Cloud Guardian Druid, which will be also getting a little bit more value from Monk and Shaman in the group, and those two are kind of important in the physical comp also.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with playing. Basically, when you play Guardian Druid, you're not playing. If you play Guardian Druid in a physical comp, you're not playing for yourself, right? You're just playing to bring Mark of the Wild. If you play Illusiosen or Druid of the Cloyd, whatever survives, right, is what you play. But do you think it should be like in S- as meta fillers? I feel like it almost should be up there because you kind of want it when you play physical comp. But what do you think about it?
I mean, this is kind of like coming back to depends what physical comp is, because this, like, if we're talking about the physical comp, it also can be Prot Warrior and it also can be Monk, right? Depends how big nerf was for Windwalker, or like gonna be for like Arms Warrior, if it's gonna be.
Yeah, of
But,
course, but we're basing it off now, like how because we cannot.
I mean, I would probably put him in A
predictive
because I would not say that Warrior's buff and utility from Warrior is like much worse.
No, but you play
compared to the-
Arms Warrior, you know. I'm just thinking like strict. Like I think Garden Druid is never played if you play a caster cleave, because then you can just play Boomkin, which is fine. I'm just thinking if you play physical comp, you want Market Wild, and you like you're not gonna play a Prot Warrior and not an Arms Warrior. You know what I mean? But you will play Guardian and not play Feral. But then again,
I think we can.
Guard.
Yeah, I think we can put him like in A for now, and like after rating like other tanks already maybe come back, because it also all
Yeah.
depends, like, is Mark of the Wild like will bring you that much damage for the group, or it's better to bring the tank that will be doing like more damage and it will be the same.
Yeah, that's fine. So between Protball and VDH, I think Protball is stronger than VDH, but I think you would really enjoy VDH, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was playing a lot of 20s on like both of them, and I think at the end I would say that Prot Paladin is probably still stronger in terms of like survivability, like own defensive.
Yeah.
It did
Would
feel
you
like
put them? Would you put them in like meta fillers? Would they also be in the A tier though? With Guardian? I feel like they could just be instead of Bloody K. A lot of keys, both of these tanks.
I mean, I can see VDH kind of struggling to live in high keys, and also VDH maybe would be a little bit lower than Paladin just because of the Devourer Demon Hunter, or like / Havoc Demon Hunter, what they're bringing. And if we're talking about the raid buff, maybe it's
Yeah,
fair
I mean,
to
that's
put it
true.
on the same as Guardian Druid. At this
Yeah, we
point.
can put it next to Guardian. I don't think you will ever. I don't think. Like between Bloody K, Protball, and Guardian Druid, I think, and VDH, I think VDH is the least likely option to be played this season. Because Havoc
most
and
likely.
Devourer are just like strong. And Protball and Bloody K don't care about raid buffs. They're both really good. So
Yeah, about the personal damage, I mean, as tanker, don't really care about the personal damage, but VDH should be doing a little bit more than Paladin. Plus, on top of this, bring in raid buff, which might not be needed, and you'll never be playing 2 DHs, as you mentioned before. A single target Paladin should be doing a little bit less than DH, probably.
Yeah, but I don't remember the last time you brought a tank because of their damage. Just bring the most tanky tank, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, even like when you played, or was it you could play damage options, just play defensively. That's like, it doesn't really matter. If you do 65k or 55k single target, if you do 55k, but you get to that point in dungeon every single run because your tank never dies, that 10k single target difference is just stronger than 10k extra single target defense from the tank if your tank dies 10% of the time. You know what I mean?
I mean, kind of great.
Yeah. So do you think it's fair to put Protball in meta fillers? You could play it instead of Protball. I think it might even be better than Bloody K. I think it might, even in some keys, it could be equally strong to Bloody K.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. I think it's fair to put him higher, and I think in some keys, or it depends what key level we will end up being playing this season, I can see DK start being struggling and Paladin finding the way to play around.
Yeah,
And like
I kind of agree with that as well. And then to Bloody K, of course, Bloody K currently the strongest tank. I think we all agree on that. But I wanted to ask you, do you think, because Bloody K has always been a really solid tank, but they always struggle with high keys when they start taking too much damage. They start getting one shot, they purg out of a stun, just proc purg. Have you felt that it might be like that? This might still be the same thing this season, just that it, instead of getting one shot on 22 keys this season, they're now gonna get one shot at 24 keys. So even though they're strong, we haven't played high enough keys to where they struggle on PTR. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of do feel like this, that it will be struggling, and all just depends how far in terms of key levels we will end up playing this season.
Yeah, because I don't like, you know me, I love Bloody K. There's nothing I wish for more than season 2 to be Bloody K meta. I'm just not sold on Bloody K 100% because it's always the same thing. When the key level gets too high, Blood DK just goes from extremely good to really fucking shit. It can mean like the difference of like 1 key level, you know? If you just start randomly dying, it's just horrible. So
Yeah, I mean, lately I was playing and testing like quite a bit of Prot Paladin, and I would say that the difference between Paladin and DK, that on DK you can randomly die. This is kind of the same problem with like DH, and it was the main problem for many years. And on Paladin, currently Paladin, I think the way they changed the talents, added new talents, I think you will only die like if you're playing bad or like overstayed in the pack, and you cannot like really die if you're playing good and playing perfectly.
yeah, but we're also only doing like I'm saying
right now.
we're saying we're only doing 2021s. But what do you think the realistic key level will be once you have Bisgear, you have the routes down? Like I feel like they might be lower than current season. I think like 23, maybe some 20, 22, 23 maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like maybe 23 at the moment, because people already did 20. Like you can do 21s right now. Plus you can do more reps, lower ping, play with main group. Probably already can get like 22s, and with like more like reps, maybe we'll get like half 23s, as it is looking right now. Probably you can like achieve 23s right now if you'll be playing on retail.
Yeah, and then
like
the question
roads.
is when you do 23 keys, is Bloody gonna be equally strong as it is now doing 2021s? That's my concern, that the key level will just be too high and DK just starts dropping.
Yeah, I think it might be too high already for DK. If we'll end up doing like 23s at the end, I think Paladin might be a little bit stronger, or like the Paladin will be going higher in the tier with every key level, basically.
Yeah, because it doesn't
like
have
up
this
from 20.
exactly. It doesn't really have the same issue as DK. But yeah, I mean, I think we both agree to it's quite even, or like we feel the same rather. Is there anything?
Yeah, also add for Paladin that right now in 21s, like
I forgot to
your
feed my
team is
cat.
also struggling.
Can you just yap a little bit? I need to go and feed my cat. I need like 2 minutes.
Sure.
Really forgot about it. Perfect. 1 second.
Yeah, guys, what I would also add, it's that right now I think your tank is struggling less than your group is struggling. And Paladin might also help here a lot with freedoms, with the sack. Like not much healing, but like 3% damage reduction. It's like half a key level, let's say. Because when we were playing Altar, for example, it was like big struggle to remove the debuffs, and freedom is taking care of it. Also, like the debuffs in general, the dispels, sacrifice, all this will help quite a bit. The other question is about the healer meta. Like Prot Paladin is looking to be like the strongest healer, and like historically you was never really playing two same classes in the comp. So if Holy Paladin will end up being the strongest healer, Prot Paladin will most likely will also start falling down a little bit. I mean, about the healer with Prot Paladin, I would probably most likely put there either Disc or Resto Shaman. Resto Shaman is bringing Bloodlust, bringing Raid buff also, bringing 10% stamina, which is like pretty helpful for Protection Paladin. But at the same time, it's pretty nice to have some type of external for Prot Paladin, because you are not covering yourself with 100% defensives all the time. And also historically, we already saw a couple of seasons when it was meta Boomy plus Disc plus Prot Paladin, and Prot Paladin is taking care of Disc with like interrupts and Boomy with interrupts, and there are like quite a bit of the moments when you have like two casters, and in every key there is like 1 or 2 pulls like this, and like Paladin will help for this for sure.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, but so you believe in the Prot Paladin? That's
Yeah,
what
for
the-
high keys, like the highest keys, like if it would be TGP, I can see Prot Paladin being in most of the keys than Bloody Key.
Okay. Yeah, that's
This
interesting.
is like fair to say.
That's very interesting. We'll see how it turns out. Let's see. I gotta move on though. But I think is there anything you want to add to finish this off with the tanks, or do you feel like we covered most of?
I mean, just like overall, I would say that every tank is playable. Like, don't worry if your tank is like not on top here. Everything can change. This is like there will be still tunings, and not every person is doing the highest key levels. And as tank, I think if you are just a tank and just exist, it is already fine to not wait super long in LFG.
Yeah, I do think not to wait, but if you really enjoy playing Brewmaster Prot Warrior, I do think you will struggle to like get invited to key, because it's always like this. People just like they'd rather take a Bloody K in this case that is 300 IO lower than a Prot Warrior. Even though Prot Warrior is technically good.
Yeah, people still probably will look on your IO. The only thing that will be a little bit harder, it's like if you'll be watching some stream and will try to do the same pool, you might not be able to do the same pool in the same way. For example, on like Monk, probably you will want to split something, but it is not necessarily will end up being slower. So it's like cannot like just watch the stream and copy one-to-one. We'll just need to think a little bit more and adapt your teammate and your packs for a new road. And this might be one of the reasons why they will prefer to invite some meta tank. And that's kind of the only thing, in my opinion.
All right, fair enough. Turns out Automatic Jag is a little bit late, so we can actually keep gapping a little bit. Do you have any idea about raid tanks? It's not really your area of expertise because you don't raid.
I mean, yeah, in the raid, I think like everyone is asking like what is good in the raid, but I think it doesn't matter what is good in the raid, because in the raid you're just a filler of the raid buff that is missing. If Windwalker and Mister are bad, you'll just be playing Brewmaster. Like if all Druid packs are bad, you'll just be playing Garden Druid. And we saw this being a case for like few race world firsts already, raids, that you were just playing Garden Druid even though it was like not super good.
Yeah.
Or for example in like Castle Nathria, when Havoc was bad, you were just playing VDH just to fill the raid buff. But overall, like again historically, like if you're playing Blood Decay and Brewmaster and Prot Paladin, like you should be one of the best tanks and never be struggling and bring in good things for your raid.
I think this tier, if you play Bloody or Prot Pala, I think you're extremely strong for both raiding and M+. If I had to like pick, if I had an ult and I wanted to, like let's say I wanted to play tank as an ult, and I wanted to raid and do M+, I think picking Prot Pala or Bloody K is a very safe pick currently. I do think Brewmaster, like I said, is also good for raiding. I do think it's a bit weaker in M+. But it just depends what raid buffs you're missing, and Prot Pala and Bloody K they're just extremely strong for both.
Yeah, I would say that picking like two tanks, because a lot of people are saying that they don't have like time to like play 3-4 tanks. I think picking two tanks is kind of fine, and I think picking Bloody and Prot Paladin will be fine for high keys, for raiding, and for packs also, because you will be able to kind of solo carry your packs with the amount of grips on Bloody and the amount of interrupts on Prot Warrior and off healing. So it should cover like pretty much everything before like 0.7 patch or 0.5 patch.
Yeah, you brought it up. It's a bit interesting. Do you think a DK is needed for this season? I feel like in some for grips, that is for M+. I feel like some dungeons a grip is really useful, but there's a lot of dungeons we also don't.
Grip is always like nice to have, and we can rate it as half of the raid buff. And probably the key where it is like very nice, it's Altar. Also like good in Dan. Like not super bad in like Veil or something, but I would say not super important, that you can find a way to play around it if you'll be playing like with Prot Paladin. And if you will stick to play one meta comp in every single key and not like swap, depends on the key. Like it is just like nice to have, but not like something that you cannot play without.
Yeah. I mean, it's always usually like that, right? Where you can play without it, but since I don't know how many seasons DPS DK was meta, is it 4 seasons or something? I don't remember. But it was because they're both extremely, they do insane damage. They're very strong defensively. AMS is completely broken, and you
Yeah.
have grip. But I
Yeah,
think
I
even
think-
this season, you could also kind of play without grip. It's just really nice to have.
Yeah, I think DK was mainly played. I mean, the first version was because of the how tanky it is and how many things you can immune with IMS, and also how much damage it's doing. And like grips is just like good adding on top of everything what classes bring in already.
Yeah. So if you had to, you had a friend asking you, they wanted to play tank this season as an alt for M+, and they only wanted to play one tank. Which and potentially raiding as well. Which tank would you tell them to play?
I mean, all depends on the key levels, but if it will be like up to the title keys, which is like 1 key level lower than title keys, I would probably say like Paladin. Or like probably I would choose Paladin like overall, because it's like helpful for packs, which is like 15s or something like that. Probably DK is taken over from like 15s to like 20, 21s, in my opinion, in this range. And Paladin is again taken over DK in like 22, 23. So because of this, I would
that's
say
what
that
we think currently, but we don't know, right? Because we haven't really. It's a massive as a tank. I feel like it's a massive difference playing without 180 ping. I mean, especially Bloody Gate. Trying to play Bloody Gate with 180 ping is just horrible. When you've done it yourself, you overlap blood boils. Your dash flag doesn't go off. You waste a global here and there, and as a Bloody Gate, it's really bad, right? As a prot pal, I feel like it's a bit more forgiving with ping because you're not as your globals. If you press the wrong global one time, it's not the end of the world unless it's a word of glory, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, to defend DK, I will also say that, I mean, bosses feels like doing quite a bit of damage, and like if we're talking about keys overall, it's not only about trash, it's also about the bosses and like what you can live on top of the boss. And I mean, Paladin might struggle a little bit more, like living the boss, for example, like Altar first boss or Murder Row first boss, and DK is taking a little bit easier, like dealing with those bosses, just because DK is like very strong versus one target and healing himself back all the time.
Yeah, I mean, on bosses, I don't think like DK is never. I don't remember the last time you played DK. You're like, oh shit, not this boss. When you're doing a plus, you know, it's like when you get to the bosses at DK, you're like, oh, I can finally relax. You know, finally time to one
exactly.
target. I'm really good.
Like
Meanwhile,
reset my cheat death on this boss.
yeah, exactly. It's like the trash you're afraid of, right? Meanwhile, Protpal, I feel like might be some bosses where you're a bit afraid as Protpal, no? It could be some
Yeah,
rough.
it might be like Murder Row first boss, I think, where you will not be able like to heal yourself, and you will need to rely on your healer. And I would say like Altar first boss is pretty hard because of the melee attacks of that boss. Hopefully, it will be nerfed a little bit.
It's mainly though when the boss gets buffed, right? I mean, I feel like you always the boss always does 1 or 2 buffed hits. So like, it's the attack speed, right? Is it 30% attack?
I mean, just like overall, he's like doing triple melee hit in like 1 second because of like triple head. Maybe like Ruby second boss also.
I feel like
Pretty
Ruby
hard tank
second
dungeon.
boss.
And
Yeah,
this
but
DK
Ruby's
was like immune in.
yeah, but
with
DK
MS.
just AMS every time. You know, it's not even a boss fight with DK. But I guess as Protspell, like, you could struggle. But you also have, I feel like any tank that has immunities for the second boss of Root Rifles, just having a good time. You could spell warding or bubble them, and I think it's. I think a tank like Guardian would.
Yeah. Like Water Monk also, yeah. Paladin with immunities is kind of fine.
Yeah. So if
But
you
yeah,
had
I kind of
to,
like how Paladin is right now with like all these new talents, that they kind of fix this issue in the good way.
yeah, if you had to rank the tanks out of fun, how would you rank them the same as we have them here? Or would you swap something?
I mean, fun is usually coming from the damage that you are doing, but I would say fun is also coming
It's
from
very
like
personal.
RNG.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll put like DH probably the most fun for me. Kind of
Really?
like this RNG on Meteors, RNG on Apex talent.
Okay.
That you're like
Yeah, fair
jumping
enough.
around like very fast. Like not feeling like a wheelchair, I would say.
So I have one last thing for you. Could you DM me your meta comp prediction? Just one comp you think will be played. I just want to compare it at the end of the stream between
Okay.
everyone joining. So just DM me the five specs you think will be in the meta comp. And yeah, I think we're moving on to healer stuff. But thank you so much for joining, Kira, and good luck in your MDI practice. Are you playing playing more tonight?
I think people are raiding today, so probably no. But yeah, thank you for inviting me to this stream.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Best
bye-bye.
of luck. Bye. Yo, Jack, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Oh shit, you loud. Yeah, 1 second.
Oh.
All right, can you try speaking again?
Yeah, how's this?
Right now, I think you lowered yourself and I lowered.
Oh, I think I was just really excited.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now it's good. How you doing? How's your day?
I'm good. I just got home, played some pickleball.
Oh, nice. Do you want to start your stream and stuff before, or are you just gonna get on with it?
No, you don't have to worry about it. I'm not gonna stream today.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, so as I told you, I'm making a little tier list here, and you are now gonna be in charge of the healer specs. Because I know you've been playing quite a bit of PTR, right? I've been watching your YouTube videos and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's good.
I think. Are you getting Zorthas on as well?
Yeah, I will bring him on later.
Okay.
Does he play healer? Yeah, he plays some Resto Shaman, right?
Yeah, he was also playing Prez, and he's been playing more Preservation than I have. So I'm gonna let him rate Preservation.
Okay, that's fair. Let me just type that down. That he's. Do you want him to rate Resto as well, or have you been playing some Resto Shaman?
I've been playing some Shaman as well. Yeah, why is my mic bad?
It feels like it's almost like echoing almost in a weird way.
Yeah, let me check my devices real fast.
Or maybe you're like talking into the side of the mic or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll back it up a little bit. How's that?
Kind of the same. People are saying it sounds like you're using the wrong mic, but I don't know.
I think they're correct.
Let's see if he can fix his microphone, and then we are gonna get on.
Is this any different?
I think it's better now, personally.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just got on my computer, just turned it on. It sounds odd.
It sounds like you have a lot of bass. Maybe I don't know. It's fine. People can hear you. It's all good.
Okay.
So we usually start from the bottom to the top. And I'm looking at the priest, mistweaver, druid at the bottom. But what do you think is the current? It doesn't mean it's bad, but the worst healer.
I'd say probably Holy Priest right now.
But now it's really good. Okay, your mic just changed. Now it's perfect.
Awesome.
I don't know what just happened.
Something
I
lagged,
don't
and then
know what
everything
happened.
worked.
Okay, now it's good. Now it's good. Okay, Holy Priest.
Hey.
Do you think it's like send help bad, or do you think it just needs some buffs?
Let me see your tier. I would say like C works if you love the spec kind of thing.
Okay. You don't think it's that bad that it just like needs buffs to even work? It's just
it needs like survivability buffs or something to compensate for like the poison season, because the healing side feels good. Your mana feels a little better, but one of the big downsides for it is that you have no mana regen really to speak of. So you eventually are going to get to a point where you're going to run out of mana, have to stop your group to drink or micro drink and try to catch up to the group. The other side is your survivability is really bad. And so especially early in the season, like if you're somebody who loves Holy Priest, you could put together like an ultra high versatility set and actually feel pretty comfortable. But before you get to that level, you have to cast on yourself a lot more to really, make up the slack. So you're always going to be like the squishiest person unless you have a perfect BIS, setup, which you're not going to have until later. Boss fight wise, your mana feels good, but again, it's just sort of like the ongoing you have to burn extra mana because you don't have a poison dispel, or you have to bring people into your group who bring poison dispel as well, which kind of limits your options. Your damage
Yeah.
is at like a pretty good level. Personal and PI together is like pretty good, but especially with the dungeon pool that has like 6 poison dungeons or something like that,
Yeah.
you end up burning a lot more mana to make up for it, and it limits your comp options.
Yeah, I feel like priest is kind of in a whenever there's a priest season, it's kind of similar to Blood Decay, where I feel like Blood Decay is not really an M plus class because they're just so slow. You know what I mean? Like when you play VDH,
Oh,
you feel
yeah.
like that's a great M plus tank. You're leaping around, putting some sigils down, and then Blood Decay just comes there running on his legs. And I feel like priest is kind of similar, although it's ranged and you don't need to be in the front all the time. It just feels like comparing it to Mistweaver, they can just like roll around freely. A bit more mobile, and priest is just stuck there.
100%.
Okay, so yeah, that's about Holy Priest. Works if you love the spec. Defensively weak. Do you have the DR from Flashy as Holy as well, like you do on disc?
Yeah, so you have 10% from Protective Light, 10% from Fade, and then it's a 30%, 40% HP increase from Desperate Prayer, and 6% Magic DR from Spell Warding. With all of
Okay.
that together, though,
That sounds pretty
even
strong,
with all
but-
that stuff, yeah, it sounds like a lot, but even with all that together, you still have to cast on yourself a lot more relative to other party members.
Okay, yeah, that sounds a bit rough.
Yeah.
But hey, it works if you love the spec, I guess, at least. So that's good.
Yeah.
Um,
Bright side is it's better than season 1 in a lot of areas. It's much better on rot damage. It's much better on like sustaining your mana. So like you still have to drink, but not nearly as much. I was able to do some like higher keys. There's like 18 or 19 in Blinding Veil. And the last boss there is like a pure rot damage fight with like prio target burst. It's almost like merging together like a Khajiit type fight from Halls of Infusion with like the Skyreach mech with the laser beams, because people will pick up orbs that give them a damage buff, and it'll also make them take more damage at that period.
yeah, it's crazy. I remember I was playing Boomkin. I took like 4 orbs. I'm like, time to blast, and I just died. That's so much damage.
Yeah.
That thought.
Like Holy Priest sustains his mana pretty well in that fight, and so like you do pretty well for the heal checks, but then
Yeah.
I feel like trash is actually a much harder area for it.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's move on. Do you think the other priest spec is also down there, or do you think we have another spec before that?
I think I would put like, I think I'd probably have Holy Priest as like the lowest and the only one on the C tier. I think there's like a lot of healers right now that are at this like mid-level tier right now.
Yeah. I assume Residue is one of them, right?
Yeah, I think I would put, I'm not exactly sure if I would put like Druid ahead of Mistweaver or what, but they're definitely on like the same tier. I would say like Rest of Druid, I was playing it like more recently, and they so they increased player health and creature damage going into this season. So instead of, on live servers right now, we have like 400,000 or 500,000 health. And then now we have like close to 1 mil with, optimized mythic gear in season 2. So we have a lot more health, and it also takes a lot more cast to push up health bars.
Yeah.
Druid, historically is like this mythic plus spec that has all this great stuff, but your hots are like really incredibly weak. And regrowth, it had some bugs on PTR, but they fixed them where it was doing less than intended. But even testing it after they fixed those buffs, you have to spend so much time setting up all your hots. And so Druid players are also really pissed off, rightfully, because the beginning of, if you check the patch notes on Wowhead, in the Druid section, they're like, we're adding more quality of life for Resto Druid. And they gave you this effect where you get rooted in place when you trank, which is like good for a couple raid fights. But then they made everything worse. You can't extend your hots anymore out of Verdant Infusion. I think they nerfed one of those like rejuve duration extensions. I think we had like overheals or something like that. So basically like your hots last for a shorter period of time. It takes a lot more hots to set up decent healing, which then cuts into your time of actually doing damage. So when you kind of get the momentum rolling, yeah, you can do a lot, but you don't really get as much opportunity to like add extra damage. And I don't know, a lot of healers just do the same thing, but with less
Yeah.
work, less effort.
Yeah, it just sounds like it's painful to play currently. That's the vibe I'm getting. It
Yeah.
just requires a lot of effort to like even make it work.
One
People,
of the
I
big
think,
areas like Druid was super strong in at the beginning of season 1 was that it didn't feel like they needed to have cooldowns to do good healing. It was like you could set up hots, you could just blast. Now
Yeah.
it feels like if you don't have Convoke or you don't have Shrank, you are having to spend an enormous amount of time setting up hots to do anything.
Yeah, okay. But do you think it sounds worse than Mistweaver if you ask me currently? But because I've played with some Mistweavers and they're not. I think they're pretty like they're all right. You know, it sounds like Druid struggles a lot
Yeah.
more than Mistweaver. But when you describe it,
Yeah, I think you probably put like Mistweaver on like the top of the mid tier, something like that.
yeah. I mean, put him next to Warrior. Warrior is also really strong. So what about Mistweaver? Mistweaver went from the strongest healer to suddenly just being very mid.
Yeah, they fucked up Mistweaver really badly.
Okay.
There was like a nice sweet spot that they hit in PTR where they nerfed spin to win a bunch. So it was like only if you had a billion lashers where you'd feel really like you would just spin and heal everything with it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was like 8 targets or something like that, where I was actually like decent. And then your Rising Sun Kick, your Ancient Teachings, which is like your single target damage, your Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick, was doing like really good healing. And your caster spells felt pretty good. Then they buffed up Mastery way too much and nerfed your healing side. So it wasn't affecting your damage to healing conversions. It was affecting like your Shayloons, your Enveloping Mist, stuff like that. So they nerfed that while buffing Mastery. They realized, oh my gosh, Mastery's way too good now because it basically made the Rising Sun Kick do absurd damage. And your Thunder Focus Tea would reset the cooldown of Rising Sun Kick. And you would that would be your main healing cooldown, was just hitting that button, mashing RSKs, and your tier set bonus would give you more Rising Sun Kicks. But then they nerfed Mastery too. So it's feeling kind of similar to, what is it, like Paladin in Dragonflight Season 3, Season 4, after they got nerfed, after they had a remake. It feels like you have a bunch of buttons that don't really do a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's never really a good feeling. I'm just surprised that like something goes from being so good to just being so mid. But I mean, it makes sense if they tried to like up the mastery and then nerf them. But I mean, I still think they're all right? They're not a bad healer currently. Like I said, I've been playing with some Mistweavers on PTR. It works, but they're just not. You cannot really compare them to a Holy Paladin Resto Shaman.
Yeah, it seems like you're at a point where you have to do like a lot more finesse almost. Like really strong players will be able to like make it work, and your teammates may not notice the difference, but you will have to expend a lot more effort than you did in Season 1.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching all the Vibes play Mistweaver Season 1 because they were the group pushing next to us, right? And I just watched his stream, and it's just sitting there like it's a 10 target pull, just spin. And there's like maybe one, what's that, the hot you have? Is it Renew Mist? What it's called? Like pre-Renew Mist, spin. And it's like, okay, dude, nice gameplay. Okay, moving on.
They had a sweet spot. They could fix it in time, but we'll see.
Yeah. So do you think Disc Priest is also mid, or do you think it's actually better than these two healer specs?
I would say Mistweaver is like a little better than Disc. So I'd probably do like on the mid tier. Yeah, I would have Disc Priest in between them.
Okay. Yeah.
So Disc, they gave you a ton of shields this season. And so like 30 or 40% of your healing in dungeons is coming from your Void Shields. You get guaranteed Void Shields when you cast your Mind Blast, and you still have a chance to get them from casting Penance. Void Weaver's really weak in dungeons, but it is good in raid. But
that's a damage spec, right? Because I remember this from when we played Disc in the TGP last season of Dragonflight. We tried to like play. I think Whippy wanted to play. I don't remember the damage, not the Oracle, other one. And then we tried it in. We tried it, and it just like everything went to shit. And then Oracle was just.
Yep, 100%. So right now you have like you only use penance on enemies in a season, but basically what they've done with Disc is they've kind of like constantly nerfed your spec tree and then like buffed your apex talent. And so through PTR they kind of tried to rebalance it a little bit. It did okay, but you basically just layer lots of shields on people that are fairly weak. They're like 10 to 20% of somebody's health. So this isn't like War Within Season 2 crazy Oracle shields.
Yeah, I
You
remember
put up
those.
a lot of shields, but they're all kind of like low quality.
Yeah, but it still helps people like
Oh, yeah.
surviving big. Like if they stand in something bad and they have a shield, they will survive most of the time. You know that's what I like about disc. It like brings stability in the way where people are less prone to get one shot by stuff. That's always why I love disc. It just absorbs. It's not the healing. It's just increasing max like effective max HP, so to say, with the shield.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's still going to be helpful for the season. So like good disc players will basically be constantly holding on to a couple shields while they're kind of making sure they never overcap them at the same time. Because your void shield hits 3 players, and so you're always trying to make sure you're putting shields up on the weakest people and building up more shields in case they get broken, so you can just kind of layer them again. And when your void shields get broken, they also do a reflect, so they do a little bit of atonement healing as well.
Okay. I also think one thing that's good with disc though is that when I play tank, disc is probably my favorite healer to just like external wise, like double paints up. You have a barrier. You have so much good stuff for the tank as well. Even though you don't have the craziest tank healing, you still can help the tank a lot of externals. Always compare that to like a Resto Shaman, right? You don't really have much to help the tank, or a Mistweaver Cocoonist, but it's not DR. It's gone in too many attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. Downside right now is like you again still don't have any mana regen. There are talents like you potentially could take, but they're very expensive. You basically have to like sacrifice a lot of healing to go get mana regen talents, and even then they're not that good. The poisons again is another thing where like if you don't have the dispels, the pain subs, like you said, help a lot, but then you have to just burn a lot of extra mana. And so they made Shadow Mend, which was like a lay on hands, and it was a proc in season 1. Now it's available all the time, and it replaces your flash heal, but it costs a ton of mana. So like the last boss of Temple of Sethralis, you're very likely to and you're also very likely to have to deal with another phase that like other healers like Paladin or Shaman will probably be able to skip because your mana efficiency is still just not that good.
Okay, yeah, makes. But it sounds like it's all right. When you talk about it, it sounds a bit better than Holy Priest. So moving on,
like good players will be able to make it work.
Yeah, fair enough. So moving on, do you think between Holy Pal and Resto Shaman, which one do you think is the strongest? Because Press, you said you wanted to skip, right?
Yeah. I would put Holy Pally above Resto Shaman. Yeah.
Okay, so we put Resto Shaman in S- as a meta filler. I think Resto Shaman is extremely good for a physical comp cleave. Is it still the same thing where you want people to be in your healing shaman?
Yeah, and so what they also have this coming season is your tier set bonus gives you a second healing rain as well.
Okay, so it's very important. Like, if you play range comp, you don't want people spread out. If you play Resto Shaman, ideally, you want people to be kind of stacked.
Yep, if you can. And the second healing rain helps a lot with that as well. And so the second healing rain will also give everybody Deluge, which is like your healing increase on allies with Riptide or Healing Rain. So like that helps for your coverage and your healing efficiency. I don't think Resto Shamans are running the talent. They experimented with it, but there's a new talent called like Swelling Tides, where hitting your totems will extend the duration of your Riptides. It seems nice for coverage, but I don't think it's necessary for a dungeon environment. An interesting thing I'm really curious about for Shamans is if they're going to run Downpour, which is a talent which basically gives you a button that replaces your healing rain. So you place your healing rain down, and then you get a button that you can tap, which will have a burst of healing from your healing rain. And when you have a second healing rain out, each healing rain will activate their own Downpour. So on those fights where you're stacked, you can do tons of healing from that tier set bonus.
Okay, yeah, sounds interesting. So I don't know much about healing though. This is one thing I feel like I'm really bad at even understanding sometimes. I was making all my cooler magic profiles, right? And I think Press Evoker, I simply didn't back and stuff.
Yeah.
But Holy Paladin made sense in my head at least. So did Resto Shaman kind of with your just playing around. A lot about around your totem still, right? With the totem or something. I don't remember.
Yeah. So you have Totemic, which gives you the Surging Totem, which is like a totem for your healing rain. So that allows you to move your healing rain location if you need to. They did buff Farseer a lot in PTR, and I think that it has like good single target healing. So I don't know, maybe there's a world on like Temple of Sethralis, the final boss, where I don't know, maybe that might help you skip a phase for your DPS. I don't know. I haven't tried that out myself, but I think that's like the only area where I think single target healing could really make like a big difference in your decision making. Otherwise, I think you just, go totemic. Oh yeah, you also have double acid rain with your bonus healing rain from your tier set, so you can do a lot of damage.
Okay, yeah. So do you think Resist Shaman is a high damage being heat compared to Revest?
If you count Sky Fury,
Yeah,
it's like I think it's like pretty solid levels of healer damage and stuff. But I don't know. I was also seeing like a lot of logs, and it doesn't seem like we're doing considerably more healer damage. If anything, it feels like healer damage, like relative to the rest of the group, is lower than in season 1.
Yeah. So I
But maybe
actually,
that's because Mistweaver was busted.
because we were discussing Press Evoker the other day, right? And people were hyping up Press Evoker because they said, well, they do a lot more damage than other healers, so it makes them stronger for him. Plus, and I want to hear your take on this, because as a non-healer, like, I don't care about how much damage you do as a healer, but I care that you should do as much as possible, right? But if you keep my
Sure.
health at 100% and do 20k less DPS, I'd take that any day over sitting at 40%, slowly rotting, and I just see you casting a fire breath,
I agree. I
you
very
agree?
much agree.
Okay, yeah.
And I would even really strongly agree that like healer damage, I feel like is more irrelevant before the 0.5 patch, because we're really at a point where everyone's trying to master the dungeon, the mechanics, and anybody trying to like sweat for healer damage. I think at that point, if there's an opportunity to like save somebody instead, uh, it feels like with the way they do tuning and the way they do meta changes and all that other kind of stuff, you are really focused on like, how can I effortlessly keep everybody alive and keep everybody super safe before the 0.5 patch, and then let me work on mastering my damage and mastering like every overall global after that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like healer damage is. Ken or Celia always speaks about, but it's such a it's kind of like tank damage. Would you bring a tank that does 10%, 10,000 more single target DPS that dies 10% of the time over a tank that does less but always survives? I would also take the tank that
Exactly.
survives, right? Yeah, I feel like it just heal me and bring some good utility, and I am happy as a tank player. Is there anything you want to cover about Holy Paladin before finishing up here?
God, I love Holy Paladin. It's so much fun to play. It's so good.
You think it's the best healer? I assume.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think one of the biggest, like to your point about like, you want to just not have to think about your health bar. You want to just know that you're going to be safe. Paladin just does that. Their tier set bonus makes it so their Holy Light costs more mana, but it guarantees that they get Infusion of Light every single time they cast Holy Light. And so Infusion of Light will buff your Flash Heal output, and that's how the 2 set works, is it doubles your Flash of Light healing, your Flash of Light healing when it's buffed by Infusion. So Flash is an instant cast, single target heal that does tons of healing. And you could run like Virtue and have your entire party buffed up with Beacon of Virtue, which does more healing from the Flash, thanks to Moment of Compassion talents. So like you can just do a lot of healing, not rely on or not be dependent on having a cooldown for a specific moment. You say, oh no, we're in trouble. I'll cast a Holy Light, spell Q a Beacon of Virtue, cast Flash of Lights to follow up, and everyone's safe. Everyone lives. You don't have to think about it. Mana-wise, yeah, Holy Light costs a lot, but during the natural downtime in dungeons, you just do damage with Shield of the Righteous, you get mana back. It just flows really well, and it works, works great for the dungeon pool.
Yeah, so you don't think you have mana issues with Holy Paladin? Like you said, you have with the Priest?
No, not at all. You get like 2 or 3% mana every time you hit Shield of the Righteous, so you can always like regen mana pretty consistently if you're like a good player,
Yeah. Okay. So one final question.
And then external wise, like Bop, Sack, Poison Dispel. There's a couple. Actually, snares are really OP in King's Rest. For people that forget, that entire hallway leading to the council fight, people get slowed constantly, and there's not a lot of healing to do, but you need to like spam dispel all those slows because people can just get eaten by the raptors or stand in garbage because they're too slow for it, and like Paladin does that incredibly well.
Yeah, I feel like Paladin is probably one of the healers that has the that's simply the best utility. You also have Bop for like aggro or physical immunity. I feel like if you sack a Bloody, let's say you play Holy Pala Bloody this season though, and you sack the Bloody K, if you don't press like bubble the next global, I feel like you're just gonna die.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, it could be. But, you know, and to that point, for Paladin players who might be getting ready, if you sack a tank or sack anybody, Divine Protection, your personal, does not reduce the damage from sack. I'm like 99%
really?
sure. I'll double check it. Chat, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm like 99% sure it does not reduce the damage from that. So
That's
I see a
interesting.
lot of people do that. But you do more healing to yourself with Eternal Flame than you do on other people. So that's like your spender, and then that's also a hot component. So like if you know you're gonna be sacking people, you should just be slamming that on yourself all the time.
Yeah. So my final question: if you had to just pick one healer, just as an easy healer, and the healer does the most healing, you think, in M+. If you don't care about utility so much, you're pugging, you don't need a perfect utility. Which healer is like the strongest, just like output wise for Mythic Plus?
I would just say Holy Paladin. Like you not only do a lot of healing in general, but you also do it outside of cooldowns, which is really important. So like you don't have to be like, oh, I don't have wings, I guess we die. You know, it's just like, oh, I need to do healing. I can do healing. I think, especially because we're always going to get more tuning. We're always going to get more stuff happening. I think if you're somebody who is going to pug a lot, is going to play the game a lot in the beginning of the season, you know, you're fine re-rolling if the meta changes in the 0.5 patch, whatever. Paladin is just like ultra safe and has a wonderful toolkit for what the dungeons throw at you. It's fun to play. It's really fun to play.
Yeah, so you would recommend anyone that wants to play healer maybe as an ult or is new to healing, you think Holy Pala this season would be a fantastic pick?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody only wants to play one healer for the rest of their life, I don't know, I'd probably say like Shaman, especially for people that, you know, only want to do dungeons or something. Because I think with after they buff Sky Fury, it's kind of like the constant, you know, second place healer all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, this season I am bringing Paladin as my main alt to my guild split runs, and I'm very excited to play it.
Okay, sounds nice. I feel like healers are also in a decent spot this season where there's no, like, you have options. It's always nice to have options. You could play Resto Shaman or Holy Pala, kind of with tanks, where some people don't even believe in Blood DK, but Prot Pala is also really solid. And VDH and Guardian are also decent. There's no bad tank this season. A good thing. I feel like the only thing would be Holy Priest on the downside, maybe a little bit defensive-wise, but...
Yeah, and I feel like Holy Priest has like really good healing for some situations and then just bad healing for others. You know, it'll feel like I'll deal with rot damage better than Disc will, but I'll have worse survivability because I don't have uppies or pain sups or shields or something like that. It's like too extreme.
Yeah. All right, I think that's we can end it like that, and I'll let Zorthas deal with Press later on when he comes. Is there anything you would want to add before we move on?
No, I think I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Right, amazing. Thank you so much for joining, and good luck in your. I don't know if you're doing keys today, but if you are, best of luck in your keys.
Yeah, I gotta finish up title. If you're on NA, you got 23 Brazil, hit me up, man. I need like a 23 pit. I don't know how I'm having that as my last one.
Okay. Well, I've heard nightmares about NA and them NA and plus scene, and especially pugging on NA, a nightmare. Best of luck
insane,
to the title.
Appreciate it, bro. Later.
Right, later. Okay, let's see. We are moving on. I think. Oh shit, I'm behind schedule a lot. Is Tettles around? Let's see. Okay, we moved to Tettles. He's gonna rate Boomkin and Feral if he wants to, but I don't know if I trust Tettles Feral Druid. And then we have Bansherz right after. We can get Tettles. Oh, here he is. Yo, how you doing? I think your microphone is muted.
Hello.
Yo, what's going on? How you doing?
Not too bad. Are you coming back next MDI?
I want to, yeah, but it depends. I feel like I need to compete in something, and currently I'm just washed, right? I feel like I would want to do MDI, but I also want to play with Salia, so we'll see how everything turns out, I guess. But
Whoa, you're one of the most accomplished players of all time. I don't think you can call yourself washed.
well, I mean, to be washed, that means you once upon a time must have been decent, right? Else you cannot be washed if you're always shit. So I mean, currently
That's
I do
true.
feel
Okay, you know what?
a bit washed, but I can change in a season. I just gotta get back to the grind. Yeah. So, do you want to rate Feral or just Boomkin? I don't know how much PTR you've been playing. I know you're doing a lot of YouTube videos these days.
I've done a lot of PTR. I think I know how good Feral is, but I don't really know how they play. I don't.
Okay. I mean, you can rate Feral. I have another guy that's playing Feral joining later, but if you just wanna, you can just talk quickly about Feral, I guess, if you want to. If not, it's completely fine. But now let's focus on balanced Druid. No sandbagging is allowed, okay? Just because you play balance, you cannot rate them worse. I've heard you're a sandbagger, so.
I think this is a meta filler. It's either A or it's a meta filler. It's one of the two of those. I think it's basically since Mark of the Wild got added back, every single season has had a Moonkin in it. The kind of issue that
I mean Druid, right? It's not Moonkin.
Sorry, yeah, Moonkin. Yeah, Druid specifically.
Yeah, no.
Mark of the Wild is just unbelievable. Obviously, Resto Druid normally is the spec that's bringing it. I think it's a little bit behind the curve in terms of like overall DPS. If you look at the meters and if you're like scouring through logs, I think it's a little bit behind some of the other stuff that is likely to go into this tier, such as like Elemental Shaman and that kind of stuff. Because like right now, I think it's kind of set up in a weird situation where the meta looks like it's gonna be like Arcane Mage and Arms Warrior, and so. Depending on what ends up happening with those specializations, say it's like a pure caster setup, Moonkin is a lot better if you're playing like if it's Arcane Mage Ellie and then you're looking for a wizard as your third. It's between Moonkin and Devourer basically. But if it's Arcane Mage and Arms Warrior, then I think that balance is going to be a little bit worse off than some of the other meta filler stuff. At the same time, I think that there's a lot that can change with class tuning, specifically slated towards the raid. Like any of these specializations that I think are going to go in the top couple of tiers, if they get like plus or minus a couple of %, that really could start to like shape up the meta. But I think like Moonkin right now, it was like really broken for a while, then it got probably cumulative amount. Maybe I got nerfed like twice in a row for like 10% total, maybe a little bit more. So but it's still very good. I think it does really good in terms of like overall damage. It's a little bit behind some of the other stuff, but like again, Mark of the Wild is just broken. So
I mean, I've been playing some Moonkin as well on the PTR, and I feel like the one thing where I just feel like I'm useless is just like a lot of single target boss fights, or like boss fights where it's like funnel or something. Like imagine going into a boss fight and an arms where it has funnel, or it's just you're going into a boss fight and you only have one incarn, you're just doing nothing. That's my biggest concern with Boomkin, I would say. AoE damage is really good though. I think you're really strong on AoE.
Yeah, first pull of every dungeon with Bloodlust, I feel like it's like, oh, okay. You do, especially if you use 2 charges of Incarn, you just do so much damage, and then, yeah, there's definitely points in time where you just you're just standing around, and you feel like a buff.
Yeah, but you do also have really good utility this season because there's a ton of poison dispels, and I also think there's even some cursing you need to do.
I think enrage dispels too. Like I don't really know what's going on with these enrages. Like Murder Row and Din of Nalarak both have like enrages that I feel like are very like valuable, like the mobs in a Murder Row that put the 60% DR on themselves.
Yeah, and
I feel like on the PTR nobody is kicking those guys.
Yeah, I know.
On CD.
But do you think, like you said yourself, it's actually been? I looked at this today and yesterday. It's been 8 seasons since they changed Mark of the Wild. This was season 1 of Dragonflight, the first season. And every single season, there's been a Druid in the meta comp. It's not been a single season without a Druid. And it can be Guardian, Resto, or Boomkin. I don't know the stats between these specs themselves. But since I think Guardian Druid is not looking that crazy this season. I mean, if they get a 1 buff, I think they're good. But Resto Druid, as apparently Jack said, they just struggle to... They have a lot of setup and stuff like that. So I don't think you want to play Resto Druid either, which just leaves Boomkin or Feral, right?
Would you rather play an Ellie Shaman or would you rather play a Moonkin? I mean, what do you think? I mean, I think we've both done a lot of PTR keys. Like right now, it seems like it's Arms and Arcane or like locked. But like, would you rather play a Moonkin or an Ellie?
I mean, if you play Ellie, you need to play Resto Druid. So I'd rather play Moonkin and Resto Shaman in that case. Or what's the comparison?
Is this the season where you lose the Mark of the Wild? is kind of, I think, the question, right? Because
Yeah,
I think the best Mark of the Wild bringer is probably balance.
Yeah, I agree. And it's the same thing. I think was Casual who made a meta comp without Druid. And I would love to believe it, but it's been 8 seasons. Like it's 100% ratio of being brought in one form or another, right? And I don't know why this season would be different, because I don't think Boomkin is bad. So I don't see why you wouldn't. It's not as strong as like Arcane Mission Arms Warrior. I agree with that, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do think that Sky Fury is, especially with Arms Warrior, I don't know the exact numbers. I would not be shocked if Sky Fury is a stronger damage buff than Mark of the Wild. Mark of the Wild is obviously unbelievable. You get 3% versatility, so it's 1.5% DR, it's 3% damage. It's like really over budget in terms of just the stats that it brings, which is, I think, especially in metas that are quite close to one another, it always works out to where it's the best buff by a lot. But then I have this kind of read that I think Ellie Shaman is better than Moonkin, just in terms of like overall damage and damage output. But then there's the question of, is Mark of the Wild a better raid buff than Sky Fury? I'm not 100% sure. I think it's probably close though. So
I think Mark of the Wild is just the best raid buff, because it also has a defensive aspect to it. And
there's some comps where Sky Fury is like a 6% damage gain. I think
that's true.
Azunaqt did some log work on it, and it looked like in some compositions it was going to be 6%. I don't think it's going to be 6% damage gain in terms of like the compositions or the specializations that are meta for this season, but like it can be very OP.
Yeah, no, I agree. But then you can just bring a Resto Shaman, right? Resto Shaman is also very strong. You could bring a Guardian. You could bring a Guardian Druid to play, what was it? He said Arms, Arcane, Elle, and Holy Pala, and not play with this. There are options.
Yeah.
Guardian is not bad, but I definitely think Balance is the strongest out of the Druid specs currently.
I'm right there with you. I think Moonkin's good.
Yeah. Okay. So you're happy to put them in meta fillers S? I mean, this is kind of behind Rotball and Resto Shaman, I guess, but they're definitely a solid option.
I think it's likely to be third DPS consideration in almost all comps for the season. I think it's always going to be something that you can play. Yeah,
no, I agree. I also think Solar Beam is good. It used to be way better than it is now. When you had I remember when we played Priory. Do you remember the season where we did we did a chain CC for a minute straight? But
the
now you don't.
Moonkin season. That season was so stupid.
Yeah, it was dumb. I mean, now I don't think there's a ton of casters anymore. They kind of went away from that, where most are just permacast. Definitely lost value in that. But I still think Solar Beam is a strong tool. And like we said, Soothe, Poison Dispel, Combat Res. I do have to say though, since I've been playing Boomkin on the PTR a bit, you are very squishy. If you're not in bear form and something hits you, you die.
Yeah.
It's actually you and it feels horrible to go bear form. But if you do go bear form, you're defensively strong, right? But it just going bear form I don't know, I hate it.
It feels bad. I do think that Moonkin in a lot of situations, if it does enough damage, you'll figure it out. Yeah. There is gonna be a weird situation if it's Moonkin and Arcane Mage, where your healer is gonna have to be on top of their shit, especially against a lot of the rot damage. Just babying both of those specializations. I think that Moonkin really making good use of Heart of the Wild to have 20% stamina or 30% stamina for 20 seconds. That's something that I think takes a lot of time to be able to figure out. But I don't know if we've ever seen a specialization where defensively they're so weak, but their damage is good enough to where they get boxed out of the meta. I feel like if there's a specialization that's truly I think Enhancement Shaman Season 1 of the War Within is probably a good example of this, where that spec was awful defensively, and you just figured it out. You had a prop paladin sacking them on cooldown. They were getting every single pain suppression. Your Aug Evoker was using all of their defensive tools on that Enhancement Shaman. You will carry the corpse of any specialization to the finish line if they do enough damage.
Yeah, no, I agree. But at the same time, I don't think that's Boomkin. You don't want to carry a Moonkin. I do think...
I think that guy's... It's fine, I think.
Yeah, I think if you just bear from and lose damage, you will survive almost anything, I think. It just feels bad to play. And I think a lot of... If you're playing with a Moonkin and you're pugging, the odds of the Moonkin going bear form to survive overdoing damage is quite small. But yeah, I mean, I think you are quite tanky as Moonkin if you just sacrifice damage for it.
Yeah, you have to be really aware of when you're liable to die. Rot damage is always the thing that you're the most scared of, though.
Yeah. I think we're a bit behind schedule. So I'm gonna let the guy I have later rate Feral as well. I think because Bansherz has been waiting
Yeah.
for like 20 minutes. I think, and I feel pretty bad. Is there anything you want to add before we move on?
No, I think we're good with that.
Okay. Could you DM me your Metacon prediction, by the way? Because I'm doing a thing after the tier list where I compare what I think will be the meta. Just like 5 specs.
Sure.
It can be physical, range, or a mix, or whatever. All right.
There you go. Got it.
Okay, that was fast. Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Best of luck in your. Oh yeah, you've been killing it with the YouTube videos, by the way. So keep doing those.
Dude, I see your shorts and your TikToks all the fucking time on social media too.
yeah.
Talk about killing it.
No, but your YouTube, like, because I want to start with YouTube as well, right? But I feel like it's so much more work doing like long form videos and just doing shorts.
Yeah.
You know, it takes so much time and effort. I feel like I'm planning, and I just had that one thing. The Echo cheating video, the release date of this video, no, it had to be planned, right? That is
Okay,
like 2
it was
weeks
not
before the race
planned.
will.
I finished that video like a month and a half ago, and then it just got done getting edited whenever it was done, and I was like, all right, now's the time. And I didn't even consider, like, it looked like it was a Race World first video, and then I released it, and I was like, oh, good God, what have I done?
Sure, buddy. Whatever you say.
I think that for you, by the way, from a YouTube perspective, if you logged in every single stream and you took the first hour of every single stream talking about, like, something that happened, like doing like story time about stuff that's happened from either the Race World first or your time in the MDI, I think that you could actually make some unique YouTube content with that.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, actually.
Talk about getting upset by gamers revolted, bro. That's the shit that people want to hear about.
Yeah, or when was it when I choked in the, was it the last time when I choked in Black Rock Hole and we lost 3-2 in the final?
Oh my God, yeah.
Let's say some rough moments, but I've had a decent career anyway, I guess. But yeah, I really got everyone out.
I think that if you convert that to videos, like people will love that shit.
Yeah, I think so too. I think people. You even said it yourself that meme videos or funny videos generally do better than guides currently. I think I saw you say, yeah. Yeah, we'll see if we can come up with some YouTube.
All right, GG's.
All right, thank you so much. Ciao. All right, moving on to Bansherz. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for Hunter, but I don't think you're as excited as I am, maybe, because I think from what I've heard, they're not looking too hot currently.
Yeah, they MM almost had a chance, but now they're all kind of like a little lower.
Yeah, because I remember, was it India I was watching? Maybe it was, I don't know, but MM Hunter was just so broken at some point.
Yeah. I was pretty excited. It looked a little too good to be true, but yeah, it was a contender for a bit, and then they nerfed it like 15%.
Yeah, but I feel like 15%. Yeah, 15%. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're talking which Hunter spec do you think is the worst currently out of the 3?
After the nerfs, it's MM, but only because of the profile it has. So I think it might have comboed well with arms when it was OP, but it doesn't really do any prio. So like it looks fine on like a lot of the pulls. It looks fine on pure single target, and it looks fine on like big AoE. But the second you get into like a pull where there's something that needs to die and your comp doesn't have good prio, it's just really bad.
Okay, but do you think does it do good overall damage, or is it still behind other specs in overall as well?
I think it's the worst of the 300 specs. I would put it in like probably that high C section. It works if you love it, especially if you have a comp like around it and stuff. I don't think it like needs a lot of buffs. I think it can make it work, especially if you like pair with Arms Warrior, like something that does like good prio, because it has like okay overall. Assuming the prio gets dealt with by someone else.
Yeah, I'm surprised you actually put it lower than survival, because I feel like when a class has a ranged spec, you generally prefer playing that in M+ than being tied to playing in melee. I haven't played survival myself. I think the last time I played with a survival hunter was it survival was so good? It was in
Shadowlands.
Shadowlands, right? Season 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen a survival since then. But you still think they're better than marksman, I guess. So where would you put? Is survival the mid spec, you think, of the hunter specs?
I was gonna put BM as the mid spec, and then survival like one like slot to the left of it.
Okay. So do you think
the-
they're
the main
both
thing-
mid?
Yeah, I think they're both mid. I would say like BM does. So if you're doing uncapped pulls, like when I was doing Altar of Fangs, I feel like BM was doing like big damage in there. But like the second you like make the target count smaller, it starts falling off a little bit. And then one thing that Surf has going for it is it's like really tanky comparatively. So like it has like a 6% less damage taken passive, just like on survival if you spec into it. And then you play Sentinel right now, and Sentinel gives you a 10% shield like every like about 10 seconds in your rotation. So you can like
That's
have
pretty
good
good, yeah.
sustain. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Which hunter talent is it that when you use your is it the acceleration you get wall as well? Is that also Sentinel or is that another
Yeah.
one?
That's Dark Ranger, so only the
Okay.
range specs can play that. But
Okay.
the bad part is both of them don't play it right now. Like they're both pretty bad.
Oh,
right
okay.
now.
Yeah, because I remember Hunter when you had that, they were also just getting a free wall. Because usually, if it was rot damage, it didn't work, of course. But it was like one shot abilities having like a free wall. It was
Yeah.
short duration, but it was very powerful. Remember that?
Yeah, that was really good.
I do by the sound of it. The BM doesn't sound that bad though. So I think I'm gonna put it ahead of Rest Druid because when Jack talked about Rest Druid, it sounded like they struggle a bit. BM is just
Yeah.
it feels like it's very mid. It's not bad, but it's not great either.
Mm-hmm. Like as a hunter only player, I'll probably be like playing a little bit of all three of the specs. Maybe there's a certain dungeon, like Altar of Fangs felt like more of a BM dungeon, and then I was liking survival and like a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, I do feel like there's a lot of really bad meta dungeons this season, but I feel like it's maybe experience. Like you just need to run them a few times and know what you gotta look out for. But I mean, Altar of Fangs, for example, that's with all the leeches blowing up and the stuff on the ground, there's frontals. It just I don't know. And I was playing Boomkin, and I was playing Retball, and Retball was just sweating, and Boomkin just standing there throwing some starfalls out, and it was just a good time, you know.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Survival Hunter? Do you think it's actually strong, or do you also think it's mid?
I also think it's mid, just like farther left. Like maybe I would put it like ahead of Mistweaver or something in
Okay.
your tier list, somewhere around there. The main thing is like it's really tanky. Like it kind of lives up to the name Survival. Like I feel like I can live all the keys like perfectly fine, like to the point where like so you also play pet sack, and you can sack
Mhm.
other people. So it's a 15% DR and it's on a 2-minute. So like I feel like when I play BM, I kind of have to use it on myself a lot. But on survival, I feel like I'm always sending it on someone else. So like that's really nice in the comp too.
Yeah, I mean that's always good with the utility. Do you have anything else going for Hunter this season in terms of utility? Is there anything where you feel like, oh, it's nice being a hunter for this?
Well, so they do have self poison dispel, and so like you don't need to get dispelled for the most part. Like every 20 seconds, you can dispel a poison on yourself, and there's poisons in like every dungeon. That's pretty nice. And then like binding shot normally is kind of useless, but I feel like it's good in Altar of Fangs. Like you can kind of like group everything better. You can like have an Ursul's on it too, and
Yeah.
like group all those guys.
Yeah, I think you mean the Feign Death Poison Cleanse, right? Is the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really actually quite strong this season because it's so many poisons and bleeds. Do you have anything for bleed as hunter? You don't, right?
No, I just always play dwarf.
Yeah. I think dwarf is just the best spec by quite a bit this season. Unless they, I don't know if they would ever do what they did with tanks, where they made stuff that was dwarfable. You know, a lot of bleeds and stuff you could dwarf in the past, and then now even if it's bleeds, you can't dwarf them. I don't know if they will do that with like DPS specs, but then of course dwarf value would go down. But yeah, I mean, I get one thing that's good is that hunter can actually play dwarf this season. That's something at least.
Yeah.
Do you think like would it be any comp where hunter would be like a decent choice, or do you just think you're better off playing something? Because like there's some, you know, you could play physical, for example.
Yeah. Normally, so like I like pretty much exclusively play phys comps. You could play survival with like a resto shaman group and get some decent value out of that. The problem is like the hunter's mark that I bring is it's good on like bosses, and that's like mostly it.
Yeah.
And there's just like usually like the slot that I'm filling gets replaced. If you're already playing with a shaman, you don't need lust. So usually there's like a feral instead or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you kind of need if you're playing hunter in a physical group, you need a shaman in that group. So I guess a bloodlust kind of hunter loses value there, right?
Yeah, my group plays bear, mistweaver, warrior, rogue, me on hunter.
Yeah. Wait, so you play hunter, shaman, bear.
And then probably just throw in the meta like arms.
But you say you play bear, hunter, resto shaman, arms, and then +1.
Yeah, that's probably what you would want to play.
Yeah.
And that last one could be a lot of things.
Yeah, I heard Outlaw's looking really strong now as well. Aren't you guys normally playing like? Don't you play like arms, outlaw, or survive? I feel like I've seen that, guys.
Yeah. That's what we always play.
Oh.
And then we have a mistweaver to like buff our fizz damage.
Oh yeah, but then you lose the shaman, right? Which is I think
Yeah.
the arms would be crying a bit. I don't know about outlaw how good Sky Fury is for outlaw, but didn't like that with Melik that you really want the Sky Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's sadly it's not looking too good for hunters this I guess, but they have 2 specs that are not horrible, right? Is there any? So if you could say something to your hunters friends, like what spec? If you wanted to, like, if let's say you're a bit casual and you just wanted to play one hunter spec, what would you think would be the best like all round spec for M+ now?
I think if you're willing to put in the time, I think survival is the best. But on the same note, BM, a lot of people like only play range when they play hunter. So I would just say
Sure.
BM if you like would rather not take the time to like learn survival.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's always a big step going from range to melee. I feel like if I played hunter, I would also like to play either BM or MM. I think it's just nice and cozy out in range.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Could I ask you for one last favor? And could you just DM me? If you can choose 5 specs for the meta comp. Could you DM me what 5 spec you think would be played this season? I'm gonna compare
Sure.
all answers. That's perfect. And I think we can end it like that. We're gonna move on to Stove. But thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it a lot, and good luck with your keys and everything.
All right. Sounds good. See ya.
All right, ciao. Hey, yo, Stove, what's up?
How's it
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a long day, but we're getting through it. I was not sure
Yeah.
what specs you actually. I know you play Devour, of course, but is there anything else you feel like you have a decent grasp of?
Yeah, I've played a lot of Shaman on the beta, so I can talk about that if you want.
Okay, Shaman. Yeah, I have Zorthas with Shaman as well, but you can both comment on Shaman.
Okay.
Maybe he has some.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you can do Shaman as well. You can both do Shaman. Have you played
Sure.
Enhancement as well, or have you only
Yeah,
played
yeah.
LA? Okay.
Yeah, both. I mean, let's start with DH, I guess, first of all, if you want.
Yeah, let's talk about Devourer. That's currently extremely strong. But
Yeah.
then
It is still like really strong, to be honest, on PTR. It did get nerfed a little bit, because the Eradicate nerf was not in, that they did like last patch. So now they fixed that. But I still feel like the class overall, or like the spec overall, is very, very good. I would probably put it in S-, maybe S+ even.
I think it's. You
I
think it's
think-
like it has a like 100% like meta spot? You think it's that strong?
I don't think it's 100%.
Okay, so then we
So
put it in
fillers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it's better than Boomkin though? What do you think? Because market we talked about earlier about Boomkin not being the strongest like spec by itself, but also you haven't had a single season since Market Wild came into the game without a Druid, and Druid is the strongest, or Balance is the strongest Druid spec, right? That's why we
Yeah,
put it.
100%. Yeah, I guess comparatively, like the buff itself, I don't think is better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like the class or like the spec itself is like really, really strong, right? Like the new tier set makes it so you go into meta a lot faster, and you also can get like some extra stars sometimes when you get like decent procs from it. So it makes it even stronger than it is right now on live.
Yeah.
And in high keys, I mean, this spec like is obviously really good in high keys. Like the higher the key goes, the more the spec scales. So I feel like it hasn't even like reached the full potential yet. So I feel like when we get full gear on live, this spec is gonna be like insane again.
Yeah, I think it's gonna like
also-
it scales really well. So with the key level. Right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. So like you're also unkillable on this spec. Like rot damage doesn't exist for you. You have 2 blurs, meta immuning, like debuffs and stuff is just insane as well. So yeah, I just feel like the spec is insane.
I have a question for you actually regarding Devourer,
Yeah.
where people in chat also asked, I think, but they apparently people are cooking a melee build on Devourer. Have you tried
Oh,
it?
yeah.
And what do you think about it?
Yeah, that's not a thing, bro. There's no way.
It's not? Okay.
Yeah, maybe in the raid, but not so much in M+.
Okay. People are saying cap now, but I have
Nah.
I've never seen that build. I don't know what it. Apparently, you're not playing like you don't have star, right? And
Yeah.
that sounds so weird.
I mean,
but-
it does okay, I think, damage, but it's like I would not play it over the range build. The range build is much better, I think.
yeah, it's like if they're equal, you would always prefer to play ranged over melee, right? It's just melee is just worse
Exactly.
in M+.
Exactly.
Annihilator
I
is
do
the
not-
absolute
I-
play. Melee is
Bro,
hard
there's
trolling.
no way
Yeah,
anyone
okay.
plays
Yeah, no, I
like
think
the million.
people kind of agree with you, I guess. But I mean,
Yeah.
you could play it if you like. Let's say you Devour DH. You love Devour DH, but you get bored, right? You could still play another build this season, which you couldn't
Oh, yeah.
in the current season, right? You were stuck to playing
Yeah.
the range build, which is a good thing, right? That you can actually change the build and still be decent or competitive, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's good. That's good. Is there anything else you would want to say about Devour DH before we move on to Shaman?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, I think the spec is just insane.
Yeah, we forgot to mention Darkness, by the way. I think Darkness is really good in high keys as well.
Oh yeah, of course. Darkness is insane. I mean, also the debuff that you bring, the raid buff, is very versatile, right? Like you can play it with some melee comps as well.
Yeah.
Since a lot of the damage is physical, right? Like Unholy DK, for example, this season got like full benefit from it, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it's very, very easy to play with in any comp, really. Devourer, I mean, and Havoc for that matter, but Havoc is very mid, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's say you played do you think you could play Devourer in a physical comp? Or is that just like full trolling? Let's say you played, or like a cleave comp. Let's say you played Arms Warrior, Outlaw Rogue, Bloody Cave, Resto Shaman. Could you play the Devourer in that comp, or do you think that's trolling?
I mean, I would not say it's the best pick for it, but I think it can go decent, I guess. I mean, the spec itself is like really, really good, so I think it's just worth bringing by itself. Like even if you don't bring too much from the debuff. I think. Yeah, go ahead.
It makes because I wasn't like actually aware that Devour DH was this strong as you make it out to be, because I was like, I didn't really count it into my meta comp. I thought like they're strong, but there are just like better options this season. But now it sounds like you kind of want to play Devour DH, which now I'm thinking like, okay, so what do you actually play now then? Because you have Arcane Mage, you have Devour DH, you have Elemental Shaman, you have Boomkin, and then like it's just so many good specs. It feels like.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to pick a meta comp, but I do feel like Devourer has a good chance in being meta, to be honest.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Shaman then. Let's start with enhancement. Where would you put enhancement, do you think?
I would say strong, but not meta.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very decent. It has some downsides, of course. So the Doomwinds procs that you get is the main downside, since it's very RNG when you get them, and they still haven't fixed the bug where if you get 2 back to back, they don't like
extend.
They basically override. Yeah, they don't extend.
Okay.
It's only like 30%. It's basically like pandemicing.
Yeah,
so it's like it's so weird because when you press Ascendance, you also get Doomwinds. So if you have a Doomwinds proc before that, and then you press Ascendance, it will extend. But if you get 2 back-to-back Doomwinds procs, it doesn't extend. So it makes no sense.
But what if you Ascendance and then get a proc? Does that extend? Or is it only like the Doomwinds proc itself?
Nah. Yeah. It would not extend. It's only the 30%.
Oh, shit. That's not great, I guess. That's
yeah.
But maybe it gets fixed, who knows? But I mean, usually when there's when stuff has bugs that makes them strong, Blizzard usually fix them fast. But when they have bugs that make them weak, Blizzard is like, okay, we don't really care.
Yeah,
It's weird.
exactly. Yeah, someone in chat also mentioned that it's a deck style proc, which means that you can get basically 4 in a row if you are very unlucky and get like really, really fucked, because then you won't have damage for, well, first of all, you won't extend your procs, and then second of all, you won't have any damage for next pack.
Yeah.
So it's like it's very annoying RNG.
So is enhancement shaman like down oriented, or is it just like you go into a pack, you don't really have strong cooldowns, and if you get good procs, you do good.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that, yeah. I feel like you do decent damage even without, but I mean, definitely nothing crazy, right? Like, I mean, yeah, it's nothing crazy without cooldowns for sure. But if you get Doom wins, you can do very decent damage in a pack for sure. It's
okay.
just very like RNG, how many procs you get, and even when you get procs, you also have to reset your spells, so you can have spells to press in your cooldowns.
Yeah. Do you think there's like ever a scenario where you play enhancement over L in 12.1?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, if you love playing
Sure.
enhancement, it looks like a solid option, right? You bring the Sky
Yeah,
and
for
you're
sure.
decent.
Definitely not bad. Definitely not bad. That's why I put it in A. I think it's like it's decent for sure. But I would not play it over Elemental. I think it don't really bring too much more. I mean, I guess you're a bit more tanky, but that's about it, because you have some instant heal surges.
Yeah, I think. But I heard that Elemental Shaman, I mean, maybe not the one shots, but apparently they have Ela Shaman has something that like you heal for 60% of your HP every 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Which sounds really
good.
strong to me, but of course, if you get one shot, it doesn't work. Do you think is enhancement tankier than Ela? You think that?
I mean, it's very hard to compare because, I mean, obviously, like as enhancement, I guess you have more control over it, right? Because you can just press the healing surge on yourself, and it's like instant. It basically can store up to 2 instant healing surges, and on Elemental is basically passive, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're in a decent spot to say the least. So
yeah,
Ela Shaman,
I'd say decent, yeah.
Yeah,
Ela Shaman I put in meta fillers. I don't think it's 100% in.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you think it's stronger or worse than Devour and Boomkin? What do you think? I think Boomkin
I
is
think
probably
how we
stronger.
have it now is okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So talk a bit about Ele. What's so good about Ele current?
Yeah, so Elemental got a really good tier set. And Farseer got buffed. So basically, how Farseer used to work is that whenever you press an AoE spell, you would the little grandmas would cast a chain lightning, and it would hit 3 targets only. And now they made it 5, so that's a big buff to it. And you have very frequent damage as Elemental. So you have your Stormkeeper at around 35 to 40 second cooldown. It has some RNG CDR to it, and you have your NS, which is 30 seconds. So you're basically like doing very decent damage every like 40-ish seconds.
Yeah.
And then in your cooldowns are not as strong anymore. Like they nerfed them, but they made the passive damage outside of your cooldowns higher.
That's actually a really good change, I think. I feel like whenever you played Ele, they were like they just destroyed in a second. Then when they didn't have Ascendance, they were losing to the tank almost, which was just
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I think it's a really good change. And also with the new tier set, you have this like extended damage duration. Basically, you're just bursting for like 30 seconds straight, which is very nice. I would say the spec is like in a really good spot. The only thing that's like a bit annoying about it is that since you're playing Farseer, but you have to play Elemental Blast because of the tier set. And that kind of cocks your movement a little bit. Like you obviously have your Spirit Walker, right? That you can press every like minute and a half or so, which is really nice. But then if you don't have that and there's movement going on, it's a bit awkward.
Yeah, so you think Elemental Shaman struggles in a fight where there's a lot of movement?
Yeah, like very heavy movement. If it's just a burst of movement where you can press your Spirit Walker in your burst and like it won't hurt you that much, right? Because you can do your entire rotation while moving. But if you have to move throughout the entire fight, it can get a bit awkward sometimes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I feel like I feel like all range specs are kind of like that. I feel like Boomkin also, you can plan
Yeah.
around movement, right? But if it's like
Yeah.
RNG movement, it kind of hurts your damage a bit. And I guess LA
Mhm.
and similar, where like if you knew you had to move in the next 5 seconds, you could probably play around that, right? Not
Not too much, no. You can't really. You need to cast.
okay. So
There's
you always
nothing
have
really you
to.
can pre-plan.
Oh, okay. And then Boomkin is a bit better, I guess, because you can just
Yeah.
do that window. Star Surge.
Yeah, you have the Starforce you can pull a bit, but yeah, you have to cast Elemental Blast. That's why it's so awkward, especially on single target. I mean, if it's AoE, it's a bit easier because you can cast the Earthquakes, right? You can pull some Maelstrom and cast Earthquakes, right, when you're moving. But in single target, like you can't do that. You need to cast an Elemental Blast, which is like 1.5 second cast. So
Okay, yeah, I mean, fair enough. But I mean, overall, it feels like I don't know, but like all 3 Shaman specs this season just feel so strong. They're just, if you're playing Shaman, like even if no matter what spec you play, it just feels like you're gonna have a good time in 12.1. Because by this, looking at this, they're all very, very solid.
yeah, I would say Enhancement definitely the weakest one of the 3.
Yeah, but even then, you could just play Eller, right? Or if you want to heal, you're also extremely
Yeah.
strong. So it's definitely one of the
yeah.
classes that look very, very promising for 12.1.
I mean, in my opinion, Shaman Healer will be in.
Oh, you think it's stronger than
instead of
Holy Pala?
Yeah,
But then you don't play
I'm
LA
not-
though.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I think then you just play Mage, Balance, and Devourer.
Oh, you think you play Resto Shaman, Boomkin, Arcane, and Devourer? And then with that tank?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting.
with a Prot
actually-
Pala tank. Yeah.
Okay. I was actually curious. Could you DM me? I've asked everyone who joined through this your prediction for the meta comp.
Oh
the
yeah, I
5
guess I
specs.
just said it, but I
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Just DM me and I can.
Sure,
I will
sure.
just compare it with other people later. Is there anything else you want to add to this?
Do you want
feel
me to
like
quickly talk about Havoc as well?
Yeah. If you actually, I thought you hadn't played Havoc because actually Kush
mean,
was
not
gonna
too
talk about
much.
it, but
Okay, then.
no,
I'll
Kush
let
is not
Kush do it.
joining. That's why. No, Kush is not coming. That's why. If you want to do
okay.
it, it's perfect.
I mean, I can say a few words, but I don't have too much experience on it. I think it's basically very mid.
I think it's. I thought it was actually strong, but did you think it's actually
mean,
mid?
I
Like
feel
on the
only
lower
thing
side
that
of strong.
Yeah, maybe. Since it got buffs recently, maybe it's a bit better than what I think. But I feel like the only thing that's like very exceptional about the Havoc is the proud target, right? That's the only thing that you do like really, really well. I feel like when you play Fails card, your AoE, I mean, it's decent, but it's nothing insane, right? Like you're not gonna be like, oh, like mega topping or something. You're not gonna be doing the highest overall. But I mean, overall, DH I feel like is a very strong spec or class. So yeah, I would say where you have it right now, or even like mid,
strong
maybe.
mid. You think it's like a strong mid
Yeah.
spec?
Yeah,
I feel like it's
top
either
of mid probably.
Okay. I mean, we can just put it at the front of mid
Yeah, I mean,
instead.
this is probably fine. Yeah.
Because
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I played with some Havocs actually on PTR, but they were playing Felsguard and their AoE burst was crazy. But then I feel like you don't, if you were pushing the highest keys, you would play, what's that one called?
Draki.
Yeah, you would play that instead, you think?
Yeah. I thought so, yeah. I feel like the burst will not be as crazy, right? Like, I mean, even if you're bursting a lot in higher keys, that's usually not too great, right? Because the pack won't die anyway. And I feel like Devourer is just much better because you have cooldowns every pull and you're gonna be doing a lot of damage.
Yeah,
like you're just gonna be slamming the pack a lot more than Havoc would.
Well, you're also ranged, which is just a benefit and a plus.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's not too much reason to play Havoc over Devourer.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for covering Havoc as well.
Me.
And are you guys still pushing this season, by the way, or are you also done with the season?
No, we've been done for some time.
Oh, you are? Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
well, I look forward to competing next season, maybe. Let's see if we can get...
Yes, sir,
you guys own this season, though, but maybe we can compete next season.
Yeah. Maybe a joint project.
Oh, really? Are you coming here?
I mean, maybe.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll see you in the race as well, then.
No.
All right, sounds good.
All
Take care,
right.
dude.
Thank you for having me, bro. Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
All right. Asuna, how you doing?
Yo, good, great. I'm on a different setup, so my mic might be a little off. I don't know how I'm sounding right now.
Your mic is fine. It's a little bit low. I'll just raise you.
Okay. Sure. Okay, so which one should I start with? Which spec?
You can whatever you. We generally start
Okay,
with.
I'm gonna start from worst to best.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay, so the worst one is obviously Fire Mage. Fire Mage has this like.
It sounds like
Aegon
you're saying
problem.
this with a smile on your face, like you're sandbagging.
Yeah, because I fucking hate this spec now. Like, remember how Ignite used to be good? Well, that's completely not true anymore. And you just kind of go into packs and just spam flame strikes, and you're just kind of padding, stealing all the damage away. So like, I would put fire down all the way. It like needs help. I think. It does very low damage.
Is
outside
this
of
actual
cooldowns.
truth, or are you just
Yes,
sandbagging fire because you don't
yes.
like it?
No,
Okay.
it does not speed up the key
Okay.
at all. And also one thing that to note is that people on PTR were, I would call this cheating, is that they were using a PvP badge, which is like scaled up. That's not like a realistic trinket, right? Like obviously having a 1 minute trinket.
Yeah. Then it gets scaled
That's
to.
like going to be insane it's scaled up, and I think it's just dishonest of a trinket. So I would
Yeah.
probably down it needs buffs because it's just.
Is it like
it's
send
not
help
looking good.
bad, or is it just in D tier?
I would say send help, but like that might be sandbagging it too much because the damage, like you can still do like okay overall damage. It just doesn't speed the key up in any way at all. Like you kind of run in and just like steal all the funnel. You burst all the smallies with all your upfront damage, and it's in a complete state of like tragedy right now, in my opinion. So I'm
It
not a
feels-
huge fan of it.
It
What's
feels
up?
like people in the stream chat, they're agreeing with you that it's like send help, but I feel like everyone is agreeing it's like a mage main and they just said that fire is bad, so they want to sandbag it and put it in the worst possible to like get buffed, So I don't know what to take from this.
The only reason I would put it in send help is just because of the damage profile. Like I think just
But that's
the
fair
flame
enough
strike
though.
profile is so
okay.
awful, but like the numbers aren't like. I don't think the numbers are send help bad. I just think the damage profile is send help bad. So
Yeah,
in
so
my
you
opinion,
just think it plays bad, like you flame strike.
Yeah, and also it is the squishiest of the 3 specs. Mage has this like squishy problem. It did get a second barrier, but every barrier has like a unique effect, and this is like has the worst effect of all 3 specs. So it's the squishiest spec, and it just does terrible damage, terrible profile. So
it doesn't sound like
not a big fan.
Is there anything it has that's good for it? Do you think?
It can kill smallies really good, like like the little small
Like
mobs that,
pad?
like, are useless. Like, it can pad pretty good, like because you run into the pack and you just pop combust, and then like within 5 seconds you're owning all the ads. But after that, it's just complete AFK. Also, outside of combustion, you are literally doing healer damage. Like it's not tank damage, it's healer damage. Yeah, like outside of combustion. So like if the route is bad or if you're gonna pug and your route's bad, like it's not.
Actually, we just talked about this, that I think it's a good change that Elemental Shaman was like this, where they just blasted in Ascendance, right? And then they were really doing tank damage outside of Ascendance on some packs. And they changed that to where they now do more consistent damage and less cooldown damage, right? But it feels like Fire is just still this case where you just do nothing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're just a hard 1 minute cooldown class, so I don't know. It's just not. It's send help, please. Like
okay.
Blizzard.
Send help to Fire Mages.
Yeah. What's up?
No, fair enough. I trust you on this. But I guess
Okay.
the Frost, I know Arcane is turbo broken, so I guess Frost would be next up, right?
Yes. Yeah, Frost is, of course. Frost would be next. So Frost Mage, I would put it in works if you love the spec.
Okay.
It pretty much received 0 changes going from last season to this season. The only thing that really changed was you got a tier set that it just kind of accelerates your glacial spikes. Frost Mage last season or season 1 was deemed squishy, right? And they didn't receive any changes to their defenses at all. So because they kept their second barrier, they kept their second ice cold, so they are still the same squishiness as we were last season. So I think that's going to be a big problem. Another big problem about Frost Mage is that it is target capped. So like maybe some Frost Mages know if you do the first pull of Algothar, or maybe the first pull of like Mysar Caverns, like you will probably get beat by a Guardian Druid pop an Incarnate Potion, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Like in an uncapped AoE, yes, it's very, very bad in uncapped AoE. Like it is laughable. Like do Algothar first pull, it's funny to watch.
So does that anything that's good going for it? Compared to Fire Mage was
it does
everything
like,
was shit.
Yeah, everything is shit. The thing is, it does do prio damage, which, it's not like Fire Mage where it just steals all the damage, which I think that has it going for it. The damage is not that bad, especially if you're a good Frost Mage, you will probably do more damage than someone who's bad at like a better spec. So that's why I think this is the redeeming quality. Like the
Right. So you
single target's
said
not that bad.
if you're bad at mage, you still do more than or what is it? No, what did you say?
No,
Is
if
it a
you're
thing?
if you're good at Frost Mage,
Oh,
you
okay,
will
yeah.
probably do more damage than a spec that's better, but like a worse player, right? So like
Yeah, okay, yeah.
so it's like the works if you love the spec kind of thing. So
Okay,
right now
yeah,
the
fair
current
enough.
build for Frost Mage I think is playing Frostfire, and they don't take their Apex talent right now. And
Oh, that's
you
interesting.
pretty
Sounds
much
like
you take all your capstones. So you
okay.
drop your Apex for all the capstones, and that's the new.
That sounds like a
really big bit.
rework coming though, because they want you to
Yeah,
play your Apex talents. I
I-
remember Guardian Druid
I'm
this season.
I'm extremely surprised that Frost Mage received 0 changes. Like the only change they got was just a new tier set. Like like Fire and Arcane got at least something, but like Frost literally did not get tankier, and the profile did not change at all really. So the damage is okay because like if you do like mid round AB like 2 to
I
like
feel like Frost
8
Mage is kind of
targets.
mid though. I feel like maybe you like. It's like when I look at these other specs,
it
these also had
bounces
struggles a
between-
bit, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it bounces between mid and or B and C. I would say the biggest redeeming quality is that it is still a mage spec that does bring a buff. And something I would talk about when Arcane is that, Arcane Intellect is buffing the strong specs right now, which is like LE,
Yeah.
Boomy, D,
I
right?
I think we put it end of B. I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's
I think
fine,
it's
that's
it's
fine.
not
I
bad.
I was in between B or C, so I think
Yeah.
that's valid for sure.
Okay,
So
but
the
why would you
elephant
ever
in the
play?
room.
Yeah, why play Frost and Fire when you have this banger
we
here?
have the goat coming up. Like so
Oh.
pretty much Arcane last season, or at least midnight season 1, had this problem where you didn't press missiles. They changed that. And you would go doing your rotation, like on some vanilla WoW stuff. You would literally drink outside of combat sometimes, which is
What?
that's changed now. So you don't
Yeah.
and you press missiles now. And also they reworked the Apex talent to give them Prismatic Bolt, which is pretty much just it's a empowered Arcane Blast, but it just acts like a collapsing star pretty much. Like it hits
Yeah,
really hard.
I was watching like some Arcane. I was playing Boomkin. I was like with an Arcane Mage doing like 230k single target DPS, and then I saw
Yeah,
this
it's-
prismatic bolt. I'm like, what the hell is this? And it was like
it's
so
completely
broken.
insane. It's just like your Arcane Blast turns into Prismatic Bolt and just like hits insanely hard. So that's like it's really fun to play. I think most people have good things to say about it. The only thing is that it is slightly RNG, but I think even getting an okay amount of RNG is still completely fine. So
Mhm.
and then
I feel like
some
the
of the biggest things
strongest.
about Arcane. What's up?
I was just gonna say, I feel like the strongest thing with Arcane is just like it's single target, just compared like Arms and Arcane. Just it feels like with the M+ builds, it's just miles ahead of other specs currently.
Yeah, it's very good. It's weird because like when I looked at, I saw like one of those like weird sim leaks, and like Arcane was like above average. So like it's crazy to me that it is doing a lot of single targeting keys. Don't get me wrong. Like, but like
Mhm.
there's specs like on those like weird sim charts. I don't know if it's accurate, but like it wasn't like gapping. But in Mythic Plus, I feel like I am gapping in single target. So like I don't know, it's
Yeah.
definitely
I don't know.
interesting.
Every time I play with Arcane, I just feel like I'm just useless on single target. Like if I play 2 mages, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, one thing I like about Arcane is that it is a 130 spec, similar to like Unholy DK, and I feel like 130 specs, 1 minute 30 specs are like really good for keys. Just like you get
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
like, you get
completely
one
agree.
use per coolants. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the best thing going with it. Whereas like Fire, like the 1 minute, I think 1 minutes are kind of awkward sometimes.
yeah,
which
2
Arcane
minute
is
and 1
complete
minutes
opposite.
used to be really good back in the day because the pulls used to be longer. So a 2 minute spec was actually like really solid for M+. Where if you were like 1.5 or like 3 minute specs, you were kind of not that good. It was also a lot of specs that were good that had a 2 minute cooldown. Because I remember this from back in the day. Now it's been shifted to where the strong specs are now 1.5 minutes. And if you have a 2 minute cooldown, still you are just weaker just
I feel
because
like
your
it's
cooldown is
awkward.
longer. Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know why. It seems awkward nowadays. Like, Unholy DK is 130, Arcane's
Mhm.
130. Like, they've been really strong in the past with this. So, and so there's always like that big question about. I get this question a lot: is if can Arcane survive the keys? And Arcane actually got a lot of survivability buffs. So pretty much, they got this talent that turns their mirror image into a stagger. It also gives them passive.
Oh,
stagger,
yeah,
but
true.
When you press mirror's image, it like empowers the stagger. So like it doesn't actually reduce the damage you take. Well, it does, but just like it staggers the damage. So like you don't get like abruptly one shot. So that's very good going for it. It's unique to Arcane. No other spec has this, so it turns that into a DR finally. And
Yeah, I actually
also-
read that in the patch note. It looks really strong. I don't know if it is that strong,
Yeah,
but
it's great. It's a 1 minute cooldown too, so
Yeah.
it's like you will not be getting one shot at all. It's very good.
Mhm.
Also, Arcane received a second barrier charge. Arcane has the strongest barrier by far. It like while the barrier is active, you take 20% reduced magic damage, which is pretty much all sources of damage is magic. And also
Yeah,
to top
yeah.
it off, what's up? Yeah,
no,
I mean,
I
a
feel like
damage,
there's some
ma-
physical stuff, but yeah, it's for
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
really
yeah,
strong.
yeah.
For sure, really strong.
Yeah, just magic DRs, I love that. So,
Yeah.
and also one thing that most non-mage mains might not know is that right now you play Sun Fury, which Sun Fury has a unique talent that Spellslinger doesn't have, the other hero talent, that when your barrier fades, you linger the unique effect of your barrier for like 8 seconds. So the unique effect is a 20% DR for magic. So when your barrier
that's really
fades,
strong.
you linger an 8 second 20% DR. Like it's literally like another. It's literally a wall. Like it's.
Yeah.
like-
What does fire have when they press the absorb? Like,
I think it's like something about melee damage. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no idea because it's not good.
it
Frost
sounds
Mage
so
as-
unfair though. Like between the
Yeah,
mage specs.
Frost
like,
Mage has like physical DR, and Fire Mage. I actually don't even remember. Maybe someone can comment. I just because like fire, I really don't like it right now. But
it's damage reflection apparently. It's
I think
so
it is damage
unfair.
reflection. It's like low key good in PvP, but like that's all
Yeah.
I got going for it. But so like people always have this question about can Arcane live keys because it's really good or not. And I 100% think it will. Like especially if you're playing Sunfury with this like lingering 8 second DR. It's way tankier than Evoker was last season. So I think 100% it can survive the keys.
I feel like-
easily put it in S tier. What's up?
Yeah, I feel like even if a spec is a little bit weaker defensively, you can kind of like babysit one
Play
spec.
around it, yeah.
Yeah, you cannot have like 3 weak specs, but you can definitely have 1 or 2 weaker specs and make sure they survive the highest keys if they do like insane damage, right?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I don't think Mage is gonna have any problem surviving the keys, and I think that's good. Also, one thing that Arcane has going for it is that Arcane Intellect is buffing the other strong specs. It's like you got the Mage, Ellie, Boomy, DH, all these 4 specs. They're kind of just like circle jerk buffing each other. So I think it's just working very well for Arcane. Also, not to mention Arcane's prior damage is just completely insane, which fire completely lacks. And I think the only thing that can keep up with the prior damage is Arms Warrior. So
Yeah,
like,
you're also buffing the
like-
Arms Warrior because like warriors definitely need a little bit more IQ, right? So even for them, it's probably a
Yeah, like they I think it makes their weapon skill go faster. I think is what I've heard. So
making them standing less stuff in melee and stuff.
yeah. Like when I played it with Boomy, Ellie's, and DHs and keys, like I was destroying them on prior damage. Like you do like a bunch of trash on a boss, like it's not even close. So
But
that's-
Arms is like
it's
still
just like Arms keeps up with the prior damage for sure.
Yeah.
It does. Like it does similar. It does actually the same, which actually impresses me because I'm like, wow, like that's insane. Because I feel like I'm destroying the bosses on this, but
Yeah,
like
no.
Arcane is just completely looking good.
Is there anything you think that is like bad with Arcane currently? Is there anything that you feel like you actually suffer from?
There
like
is
maybe
a little bit of
movement or-
RNG. Okay, there is a couple things. Your like mass AoE is not that strong, but usually you will catch up throughout the dungeon when you do like the smaller pulls. But like if you do like, I'm trying to think like what is a dungeon that's like a crazy big first pull? Because like
Ruby
that
Light
is
Pulse is
a-
generally a big first pull if you just
yeah,
maybe
like
not if you're plugging, but you can
like you're not like a superstar in the super big first pulls. Like
Yeah.
but like after that, like you catch up a lot because your
murder roll.
target AoE is completely insane. Yeah, murder roll.
yeah.
Other classes will beat you on the first pull of the dungeon, but you will catch up after. So it's very good.
Yeah.
Movement is fine because you have so many missile procs. You can cast missiles while moving, so there's no movement problem at all. I don't know what weaknesses it has. I mean, I will say that Arcane is a spec where if people might flame this, if you're a noob at Mage, you will probably get
Oh.
owned. I'll be honest, like because like Alter Time and Barrier and like all your defensives are on the global, and Alter Time is not the most simple defensive to use. It is like if you know what's going on, but like you need dungeon
Mhm.
knowledge to use Alter Time, in my opinion. So
Yeah, it's like
that's like one of the
Retpala.
big problems.
Red Pala is like extremely complex to play. It's like since I
it's
play it,
exactly
it's,
like Red Pally. I think in almost
yeah.
every way. Like,
Yeah, I completely agree,
yeah,
actually.
it's got the funnel too. It's just, it's very good. I think Arcane, like the only thing that would push Arcane out of the meta is, I think Ellie Shaman, in my opinion, maybe Prez, but because like you do want a less class, but
There's no way
you know-
Arcane in its current form gets pushed out of the meta. I think it's just too strong.
yeah, like I do think like they do similar overall, but Arcane does more single target. So when you're doing trash on the boss, or like there's a lot of mini bosses this season, I feel like, and you just completely own the mini bosses. You just speed the key up so much that
I feel like Boomkin is just like a pad class this season. Boomkin is like, whenever I played Boom, I've been playing a lot of PTR on Boomkin actually, and it's just like you do decent overall. Your AoE is good, but whenever you have to kill one target, if you don't have double incon on a boss or it's like a mini boss, you're just sitting there and it's like 3 mobs on a mini boss. You're pressing Starfall, the 2 useless mobs die, so you should technically be star or like star surging. But then even if you're star surging, you're not competitive, But you bring Mark of the Wild, which makes them good. So it's just like I feel like a buff bot almost,
It's tricky because I feel like Soothe is really important in some of these dungeons. Like I don't know where the Soothe is gonna come from. Because I did a key with which I thought was a meta comp was Blood DK, Holy Pally, Mage, LEDH, and we had no Soothe, and we just got completely destroyed in some of these dungeons. I think like Murder Row had one, and I was just like,
Yeah,
but,
it's
like,
the
I guess
damage
Evoker can maybe
taken.
Soothe. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think like we talked about this earlier. It's been since they changed Mark of the Wild. There's been 8 seasons, and there's been a Druid in every single meta comp. So if you don't play Boomkin, I'm pretty sure you play Guardian, and then the Soothe comes from that. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know what's going on with the Soothe situation, but I thought Mage, Ellie, DH would be good. I just think you need a Soothe somewhere. So I feel like that throws a wrench into that comp. And I don't think Ellie and Boomy can coexist, but that's off topic. But
okay, yeah. I mean, fair enough. I'm running a bit behind schedule here, so I kind of gotta wrap it up. Is there anything you want to add before moving on to mages?
Just bring Ignite back for fire because that spec just needs fucking help in my opinion. I hate it.
Okay, help fire mage, please, and maybe nerf Arcane, or maybe not. But
yeah, no. It's been 2 seasons. Chill.
Okay, keep Arcane. All right. Thank you so much for joining. And best of luck with your future endeavors and in 12.1 and everything.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bring it on here. Have a great one.
Same. Ciao.
Peace.
All right. Moving on to Zorthas. What's up? Are you here?
Yo.
You've been waiting for a while. I'm sorry, I'm a bit behind schedule here, but people like to yap. So I had Automatic Jack on earlier, and he wanted you to rate Press Evoker. Are you fine with that?
Yeah, I am. Give me the burden.
Yeah. So you want to start with Press then and give us your take on Press?
Yeah, okay. I think there's no way you're playing this in like Pugs or whatever. This is not like Pug meta. But I think the spec is actually like, you can actually heal. Like you can make healing checks. I don't think you're like getting heal checked per se. I think it's hard to play. I think actually like healing properly is hard. You actually need like a lot of reps to learn how to heal her. But I don't think it's like a spec where you get to a boss and or whatever, like a pull, and it's like, oh, I can't heal this.
So you think it's like you think it's strong but hard to learn, or like it's not for hugging or like if you're new to healing, but you think it's strong?
Yeah, I think it's like I think it's winnable. Now, I think also there's like the whole issue with consistency. Like you don't really want to have a healer that's struggling and hard to play and something goes wrong and it's hard for them to resolve it, right? Like say like a bolt goes off, you don't want to just like have everyone die.
Okay, so where would you put it, do you think, if you had to rate it?
So I think it's stronger no matter, because I do think it is like genuinely strong. I think your healing is strong. Like I think you can heal things, but I don't think it's reliable, and I don't think if you're just pushing keys, I don't think you want to just sit there and like deplete a key because you have a Evoker and he's like, I don't know, something goes wrong.
Yeah. So is their healing strong? Because I heard people saying that when I was playing. I don't know if it was 80, but people were saying like, "Oh, Press does so much damage, and it's so much fun to play, and they're strong." But like, why would you ever bring a healer because they do 20k more DPS if your health bars are not stable, you know? So I feel like the most important part is like utility and actual healing throughput. The damage you can make up in other ways, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I do think you want a healer that's good, but I think there is potential, and I think a lot of people think that it can't heal. I'm pretty sure it can heal, and I mean, there's like some Chinese Evoker who's done like all 20s, and
Mhm.
I think it's also like it's also reasonably safe. Like you actually like overheal a lot sometimes. So I think you can heal, but I just don't think it's reliable. I think if you're just sitting there in a key session and you ever deplete a key because you have a Preservator rather than a H-Val, things go wrong. I don't think you're actually like. It's not good for progging. Not good for progging keys. It's good for.
Yeah, for if you're a
It's
set group.
if you're playing with robots. If you're playing with like robots, it would be the best healer, I think. But
Okay. You like the best out of all of them, you think? Like the strongest healer by...
Well, depending on comp, like Resto Shaman's better. If it's like a lot of like melee that are meta, then Resto Shaman would be better. But I think Prez is like the best if it was like theoretical. If we were playing theoretical M plus. Also, I
Okay,
think it's
that's
dungeon
interesting.
dependent. I think like something like King's Rest, there's like low healing checks and a lot of like single target or like low target pulls. I think it's a lot better in a dungeon like that. Whereas there are other dungeons like Ruby where you're healing a lot, and I don't think it's that good.
Yeah. One thing I feel like is really strong with Press that I haven't really seen people talk about is the fact that they have so many bleed dispels. And I feel like there's a lot of bleeds that are really rough to deal with this season, especially when you go up in key level. You know, the King's Rest pool, for example, the boys that jump on you, and then the something in Temple with like I think the smallest that charge you or something. And I feel like being able to dispel a ton of bleeds is really strong.
Yeah, there's a lot of bleeds and a lot of poison. You can stasis dispel bleeds and
Yeah.
poisons. So like it's good. And also AoE soothes are really good in Den of Narrowlack.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the barriers, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Or is there
and,
anything
I
else
mean,
that you need to soothe in there? I don't know if it's apart from the
uh,
bears.
no, it's just the bears, and I guess it's like a Sooth and Void Scar, and in Altar of Fangs, Prez is really good at controlling those ravenous tank ads.
Oh yeah, true with the AoE suits.
You have like 3 things that you can use to just like reset stacks.
Yeah.
So I actually think the utility is good, Zephyr as well. But yeah, ultimately I think you're going to be a lot less consistent for the Preservator.
Yeah. So if you're playing with a set group and people in the group you are good, it's a good healer. If you're pugging and you don't know who you're playing with, you think it's way worse. Correct?
Yeah. I mean, even in a set group, I think it could be just inconsistent. Also, just depends who's playing it and what they even want to play. I don't know.
All right, fair enough. Is there anything you want to add onto the Shaman specs? Because I had Stove put in them. Do you think they're wrong, or do you think we missed covering something on them? I don't know if you watched the stream when we talked about them, but
Yeah, I did watch it. I think it's correct. Enhance the tier below Ellie. It's just the damage from Enhance is just lower. All the logs point to the damage from Enhance being lower. Ellie is actually one of the it's like the best, one of the best, if not the best spec at like sustained 5 targets. Like all the dummy dome logs are Ellie. I think probably Arcane as well. It's really good at that. But I don't know how relevant that is. And like as keys go to live, maybe the pools get bigger. Maybe it's a little bit worse. I say
feel
Ellie
like-
isn't too bad, but
I feel like pools generally always get bigger, like the more comfy you get. Right now, on PTR, the pools are generally like pretty small in
Yeah.
comparison to what they could be at the end of the season. Like, and you think that's gonna hurt Ellie? That the pools become bigger?
a little bit. It's not massively, but it might not end up being like the top overall like it is right now. Did either of the male guys say anything about the cantrip bug?
I don't know. I have no clue what that is. Feel
Okay,
free
so
to-
there's the Ulatech cantrip, the one that gives crit. It is twice as effective on male classes right now.
Oh, that's
every
some
male class,
item, right? Like the...
yeah, you know, like the neck. The
Yeah,
neck that
yeah,
gives
yeah.
crit.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. I've heard that. Yeah.
It's because the male class has the crit chest as well. They is duplicating the value and the proc rate, so you're getting 4 times cantrip
Oh,
value
shit.
instead of 2 times. So all male classes are doing approximately 3% more throughput than before.
Okay.
I mean, then they should be rather 3% more than they
Yeah.
should be. So
Yeah, that's quite
on live,
strong
I
actually.
think male classes will be a bit weaker. It's like 100 and something average stats more right now.
Yeah, I mean 3% is quite big. I thought it would be less, but I mean 3% is.
It's a very strong cantrip. Also, I believe the cloth and plate, like the second cantrips, like the legs and the head, I don't think they're actually working. They don't show any buff on log.
Oh, okay.
So I do think male specs might be overrepresented on PTR right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's
But
interesting. You gotta
regardless,
keep that in mind.
Yeah, regardless, I do think these are pretty accurate rankings. I think Ellie is like actually doing like quite good damage, and I think Shaman is a very good class at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like
And
if
it
there
hits
was
everyone.
one class that looks really solid this season, it's Shaman, because like all the 3 specs are just good. They don't have anything really awful going.
Yeah.
I would. So, can you rate Evoker like Org and Devastation? Are you comfortable doing that?
I can rate it as much as anyone PTR. There's none of the like org mains, or there's no dev mains really, but none of the org mains have been on the PTR from what I've seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I played with like one Org, I think, and it's just I was not impressed. It's really hard to find like numbers on it.
Yeah, so I believe org is not actually bad. I would say it's in mid. I did a decent amount of org keys myself. I think it's pretty good. I was doing like really reasonably decent overalls, and I kind of didn't know what I was doing too much. I don't know the routes, and like routes very important for org. Like the org on live is you like really need to know like what's going on and have to be pulling at the right times, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like on beta, org was not looking as good on beta as it was on live because people didn't know routes. I think it could be a thing here. That org gets better when it goes to live.
Do you think like once people know the routes, right? Like you have the pug routes, whatever. You think Org just gains value the more the longer the season goes and the more similar the routes become. You think Org just basically gains damage, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then also I just think someone who is actually like a org main playing org probably would do better than me. I was not doing bad. I was doing like 350-ish overalls in a few keys. Actually like close to mage in one like blinding veil. I did like really good in blinding veil. So I think it's a spec that has a lot of potential. There's a second build. There's like a Chrono Warden build where like you buff people. I haven't played it, but apparently that also has potential and has like high value shifting sands. So there's like more DR from the org, but I don't think that's really going to be relevant.
Yeah.
If the org isn't that good itself, so I don't know how that is going to work.
So what about Devastation? I have not. So do we not talk more about Org before, maybe?
I mean that's it about org. I think it's all right and it has potential.
Yeah. But you don't think
to get buffed? I think it's quite good.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe.
I mean, it's mid, that's fair. So what about Devastation? I have personally not seen a single Devastation. Actually, I did one Void Scar Arena once for Devastation Walker. We did the first pull and wipe, and then we called the group. That's like my experience from Devastation Walker. But like, I did, people just don't play it. It's super hard to, I don't know. Do you have an experience with them?
So the only known source of Devastation Evoker is there's a VOD from Hopeful where Sang from Liquid is playing Devastation, and he's actually like doing all right on overall in a 16. That's the only source we have on anyone real playing Dev. There's like no logs, no other VODs or anything.
Yeah. So do you think it's like send help, or do you think it's like need some buffs? I feel like it's maybe D tier.
Yeah, I don't think it's like dog shit. Like people talk about how it's like dog shit real often. I don't think it's like that bad. But I don't think it's good. Also, anytime anyone talks about Dev, they talk about how like bad the damage profiles are now. Like they lose prio when there's AoE, like, even if they do full single target rotation.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I mean that's kind of. I mean, in that case, then maybe we wouldn't have to send help, because that was the same with Fire Mage, but like the damage is not horrible, but it just plays really bad, right? And I feel like Dev maybe does the same. Like if you put mobs on a boss, you lose boss damage. That sounds horrible to play us.
Yeah, it sounds bad. I'm not I'm not qualified to talk on how it actually is, but I mean, pretty much no one is. No one's played this spec on PTR, but I very much doubt it's going to be good at all. So I think it's fair to put it in DRE or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Fair
Oh,
enough.
and then I guess there's of course male specs overperforming, so maybe
Yeah.
it is he.
I mean, I think if it's D or E, like I said, I don't really care if a spec is like horrible or really like in a tier list, because if they're not good, they're just not good. If they're Omega bad or just kind of bad, it doesn't really change much, right? Like sadly, Daehyuun doesn't. But
Yeah.
all right. Is there anything else you would want to add to this?
Do you want me to talk about Shadow Priest or?
I actually found someone for Shadow Priest, that main Shadow Priest.
okay.
So I fixed that one.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Is there another spec you want to talk about? Do you know anything about Warlocks, by the way? Because Petco's going to talk about Warlocks, and sadly lost him.
Warlocks. Warlocks do good damage, but they're Warlocks. I actually think all three specs do good damage.
Yeah, like if I had said to rank them myself.
Have you asked Baby Brain?
No, I've asked Kalamasi. Is Baby Brain? Yeah. Maybe I can.
You could ask Baby Brain. He's live now. Actually plays a lot, I think.
Oh, okay. What's his stream? Is it just Baby Brain?
Babybrainlock.
Oh, here. I need to follow the channel. Hey, you wanna come and... Okay. Yeah, but is there anything else you would, before we leave now, would wanna add to this?
I don't know. The one thing I want to say is I feel like the healer thing is like very complex, and I just don't buy that Holy Paladin has been considered to be bad for so long, and all of a sudden it's like just the only healer, and it's like nothing competing with it. So I feel like that. I just feel like something's gonna change in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But I also
Do you think there's like a lot of buffs and nerfs coming to healers?
I don't think it's even buffs and nerfs. I just think like I don't know. Is a spec as good as we think it is? Like, it's like I've got a lot of like spiky like healing profile, and in the past like that's been criticized, and no raid buffs and shit. I feel like it's a spec that's been criticized in the past, and now all of a sudden it's OP, and there's nothing else that competes with it. So I don't know if I buy it or if it's like just like a bit of false hype.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. We'll see what happens going into 12.1. But thank you so much for joining, and good luck if you're PTRing later or.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're like asking everyone who goes on a question.
Oh yeah. True. Can you DM me your meta? What do you think is gonna be the meta for 12.1? 5 specs, not more. No cheating. Only one for each.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye. Yo, Casual. Sorry for the delay. I just need to.
Hello.
Right. I need to talk to Babybrainlock in 20 minutes. Trying to multitask here. Okay, is that sure? Okay, perfect. So, yo, Casual, how you doing?
I'm fine. How about you?
I am good. It's been taking way longer than I expected, and I'm just getting like it's getting later and later. But I thought you would cover. I reached out to Crit Cake for Warrior. I know you've been playing a lot of Warrior as well. I don't know if Crit Cake got back to me.
Yeah, I'm not the best one to do it, but I could.
Yeah. I don't think. Wait, he's live now. Wait, let me ask him actually before. But we can start with Rogue anyways. Can someone go and ask Crit Cake if he wants to join my stream and talk about Warriors? Because he's live, but he didn't get back to me. But Casual, anyways, let's start with Rogues. That's your expertise.
What spec do you want to start with? Any?
I mean, the one you think is the worst.
The worst. Oh, okay. Let's start with Assassination then.
You think Sub is that good now?
Subrog, yeah, it got some
Because people
bugs,
were like... Okay.
Yeah, it had some bugs. They got hot fixed the past few days, like 3 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. It was supposed to be doing around 7% more DPS with those bugs fixed. And apparently, since they are double dipping, it's doing around 11 to 12% more. So we got a bit extra buffed than what we should.
So, is that intended,
Uh,
or is it like they're
The hot
Is-
fixes must be, yes.
yeah? But are they like they were bugged in a bad way, right? But they did less damage. Are they now bugged in a good way, but they do more? Or is this like actually the intended behavior of?
The 7% is the intended. The 12 is not. So apparently we're doing a bit more than what we should, and we expect to get hot fixed back to the 7%. So we're expecting to lose around 5% power with the next few days on Subrog. The thing is,
Okay.
when I tried it, so let's go to Subrog since we're talking about that.
But
And it's not the worst.
Okay, let's go with Asa first. We also worst the best.
Okay,
so
Asa.
Asa, we will go to Asa. Where is Asa in this list?
Okay, Asa, I think if you pull big, it's doing pretty decent. Single target is solid, while it used to be bad previous seasons. Low target cleave, it's bad on all rogue specs. You don't really provide stuff, but overall damage is really good. So I would say around A, like bottom A, it's like strong but not meta. It can do big overalls, but that's about it, you know?
Yeah, 'cause
Nothing,
I remember
nothing too huge.
we talked about this before, where this was before the sub-rogue buffs, but you said could play Asa in some keys where there's like massive AoE instead of outlaw because they are target cap, right? But I guess now with the sub buffs, you're gonna have to go with that as well. Maybe just play sub now. I don't know.
Yeah. Now that I've seen Subrog, it's clearly what's the choice, you know? Subrog is
Okay.
the choice, clearly.
So
But,
sub-rogue went from worst to best now with the bug fixes. Okay. So we're gonna
Yeah,
talk about
pretty
outlaw
much.
next. But do you wanna say anything more about Asa before or no?
Asa, no, not really. Like, it's where it deserves to be. I'm pretty sure. Like, I wouldn't go lower because the damage is kind of decent, but yeah, you're not really providing stuff, so cannot place it higher either.
Okay.
So Outlaw next. As a standalone, it's not too good, not too bad either. But as every physical class, I believe, you kind of need to have some friends alongside with you. I don't know if you're aware how much is the benefit of physical buffs, like Warrior is around 5%, Monk around 5%, Shaman is like 5.5, and Shaman for Subrog is 7%. So those buffs are kind of huge to not have. But if you put it on a physical comp, you have an okay damage profile, pretty decent single target, not that much prio, but you're doing single target
No!
rotation
Sorry.
on AoE. Oh, what happened?
I don't know, bro. My Chrome just closed. Wait.
Do it from the start.
No.
Have everyone in the call again, please.
Bro.
Someone did yours.
Wait, I need to. Just give me 1 minute. I need to fix this. Yeah. Why did it just
You try-
close, bro? It just like I didn't
Try-
even do anything. It just closed. Right. Stop.
Do you think it's the rock vanish?
Yeah, I think it's oh my. Okay, we're back. Yeah. Okay, so to Sub-Rogue.
Subrog. So after the fixes, it seems like it's doing very big damage, but it feels like you need to have big pools or like scripted routes, like the end season routes. You know, I feel like if you don't have that, it's not performing too well. So I've played.
It
the
sounds like
King's
you're
Rest
massively
before.
sandbagging. You just said it was the best rogue spec, and now you said it's not performing too well. It sounds like some sandbag, or?
No, I'm saying that if you have the proper conditions, it can really shine.
Okay.
It can be like really good, like high S minus, like meta fillers. But if only you have scripted routes and stuff.
So the rogue Discord like paid you to sandbag a bit.
No, not really. And also we expect hot fixes to get it even worse than what it is. But I think it's the strongest rogue spec with the proper conditions. You still need the buffs. The downside is the 2 and 3 targets cleave. I don't know how often you meet that in a dungeon nowadays. King's Rest seemed really rough.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's super strong. I feel like.
Okay. So do you think? But you
And
don't
also-
think it's? Do you think it's as meta strong, or do you think it's just like a filler spec?
That's the most rough.
Okay, it's as meta. If
I
you're
would-
like, it sounds like you're trying to like not make it.
No,
Like,
I would say meta filler high. Like meta, you cannot put it with a mage and
Okay, okay.
a holy
So-
pala and the blood decay. There's no way it's
Okay.
gonna work.
okay, so at the top of S meta fillers, right behind
Yeah,
Protpala
I
and the
think-
rest of Shaman.
Yeah, I think it's really good, but you kind of need buffs and good routes. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
So, am I talking about the warrior or anything else, or you have?
I don't know. Stream, did Crit Cake or Bison, did I get back and say that we wanted to join or no? I don't know if anyone asked them. Else, I think you just covered. I know you've been playing a lot of arms. I don't think you've been touched. I don't think you've touched Fury, right?
Yeah, like only from the logs we can understand that Fury is a bit down bad. The
Okay.
only thing I've heard about is that it seems well on single target, but I'm not a warrior main. I'm not aware of.
I
what's
think it's
going
maybe
on
in
there.
D. I don't think Fury Warrior has the issue where like they
Yeah.
lose single target if you bring mobs on a boss, or they like their playstyle is horrible, but they maybe need some buffs for M+.
Yeah, so the only data I have are the logs.
Yeah.
It's either nobody playing it or it's actually down bad about Fury Warrior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's the same. Like I've only played with arms warriors. I have not seen a single Fury. So like, why play Fury when you have arms? Kind of right. So
Yeah,
let's talk about arms a bit.
Okay, before I talk, I want to say I'm not a warrior main. Before the people come into the chat and be like, "Oh my god," you
Yeah.
know.
Wait. Before we talk
so-
about warrior, people are
Yeah.
saying that like you're Omega sandbagging sub rogues.
I don't know. Like, do they think you can add the Subrog in a meta in a comp with Blood Decay, Holy Paladin, and Mage and actually work? If somebody do this, I'm happily to see it and agree with them. But I don't think that's ever gonna work.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not gonna interrupt you anymore. You go talk with about arms warrior. What do you think?
Yeah, Arms Warrior, I've played plenty in this PTR. At start, you were playing Colossus, which seems to be doing good on AoE and pretty okay on single target, unlike previous season that you needed the Turbo Funnel to do single target. But now Slayer seems to be the strongest option, which is more fun in my opinion, doing very decent single target. And the good thing about Arms Warrior is that you always have cooldowns. You have damage all the time. You have very decent prio, very good single target, good survivability. You provide a buff which is attack power. Rally, I don't know how good that is. Reflect, I don't know either. I only press that for DR nowadays. I don't know how good Reflex can get in PTR. But from all the testing I've done, from all the data I've seen, I think it's the strongest melee spec we have in PTR right now. Like
Dude,
talking about today, of course.
I would have laughed just like, yes, from all the data, I think it's D. I would have actually laughed. Okay, S plus meta. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I think it depends. Yeah, it deserves to be high enough.
Okay, so I have a
I don't know.
question.
Yeah.
If you played like a caster cleave, would you still play? Is it like would you still play arms warrior? You think? Let's say you played Elle or like Devourer and Arcane and some tank and healer. You still play arms in that comp? You think?
I think if you only provide him the summon, yeah, he should be fine to shine. Like
Okay,
you
so-
just provide him the summon and he's fine. He's chilling.
Okay. How big is the shaman buff you said for arms?
For arms, I don't know. I only know for rogue, but I know it's kind of good.
Yeah.
But I cannot provide the number because I don't know. I can provide number for rogue, but I think I said it before.
So what do you
like-
think the nerf chance are for arms? Do you think they're very likely to be
Ooh.
nerfed?
Yeah, like the two target cleave is already super good. The raid has a lot of it. So I think the chances are 99% for it to get nerfed. Like something with sweeping strikes, I don't know. Something will happen there. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like generally you want to be like a meta filler spec currently in PTR because like if you're the best, there's a very high chance that you get slapped on the wrist, you know. Like being one tier below the best is always it's a nice place to be. I feel
Yeah,
like.
I agree. It's not good to be the best.
No. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I have. Yeah, I got Yoda for DK. Wait, did Yoda get back? Yeah, he won. Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, I have Yoda for DK. Because you haven't played any DK almost, right, on PTR? I've only seen you on Rogue and Warrior.
Yeah, only a little bit of Frost I have played, and that's it.
Yeah, okay. I'll ask Yoda instead. What about... No, I have someone for Feral as well. What about Red Pala? You said you saw some Red Pala pumping today, but I think Red Pala is the
Someone
ultimate
smoked me.
mid-spec.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the first time I saw a paladin doing damage. I couldn't catch up to him. He was doing some weird stuff. I don't know. But
Must have been
he's the
lagging,
one.
bro.
I don't know. I need to investigate that. But I don't know. He was pretty suspicious. He came
No,
out of
I'm-
nowhere and blasting DPS.
Yeah, no, I think Red Pala is a very mid-spec. I think it's definitely not bad. It's not great either. I think Red Pala is like the definition of mid. But the reason why I think it's mid as well is because it's a very complex spec, and only people with massive brains can truly master Red Pala, like myself, because I'm playing Red, right? So if it was easier
Aren't
to
you
play,
booming?
maybe. I mean, yeah, I am playing Boomy because I think Red is weak. So that's why I'm playing Boomy. At least it looks really bad for the raid. AoE from Red Pala is decent. That's why I think it's a decent and plus spec. But the single target is just not strong.
Yeah, and that's where he caught me. He was doing a lot of single target and two target clear.
Really?
That's where I'm like, this guy is doing something. That's where I lost it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think Red is fine to put next to Havoc and Og. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good either. It's just mid. It's you can play it if you like it, but
Yeah.
all right. Is there anything else you want to add before moving on?
Not really. No. I was watching, so I can send you the BizComp, I believe.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, please DM me what you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
will be the best comp, and we're gonna compare after.
Okay, I'll do. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, thank you so much. And
Bye.
wait, by the way, do you wanna play tomorrow or Tuesday?
Yes,
Or are you
sure, I'll be
streaming?
around.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let's talk tomorrow then.
Yep, bye.
Okay. Okay. Moving on to Babybrainlock. Let's see if we can. Oh, here we go. Hello.
Yo, what's good?
Oh, yo, what's up? How you doing?
Great, how are you doing?
I'm good. It's been a while. It's been taking way longer than I expected. But and I didn't have someone for Warlocks. So it was perfect that you were able to join.
Yeah, no worries.
So you've been playing. Do you want to like introduce yourself? Because I don't have a graphic for you on the stream. That's who you are and what you
Yeah,
do.
so I'm Babybrainlock. I've been playing Warlock for a while, since pretty much Nighthold and Legion. I've always
that's a
kind
long
of
time.
stayed around top US guilds, pretty much. That's pretty much it.
Okay. So you also, I mean, you said you've been in top US skills. Do you do a lot of M plus as well? I assume on Warlock.
Yes, anytime I can push Warlock on Mythic Plus, I will do so.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. So then you know what's going on with Warlock, I assume, on the PTR.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So we generally start with the weakest spec. So which do you think is the weakest Warlock spec currently?
In terms of Mythic Plus, it'll probably be AF because of its single target, holding it down a lot.
Mm-hmm. Where do
Its
you think
AoE is great, but yeah.
where do you think you would put it on the list? Have you seen the list I made?
Yes,
the different-
I'd probably put it maybe closer to the end of B.
I'll put it next to Frost Mage. Think that's fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to talk a bit about app? You said it was the single target was bad. You said, right?
Yeah, so single target's definitely its weakest point because of its talent tree. So like you can't really get access to both AoE and single target at the same time. But its AoE is very strong. It kind of evens it out a bit by having weaker single target.
It's like a red pad. It's like a pad spec.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's nice to pug with those at least. That's something that's
Yeah,
good for
it,
it.
it feels like Warlock's in a good spot where you could play all three in like pugs right now and not be considered like not doing great.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I actually expected Warlocks to be a bit worse than that. But that sounds, if that's the worst Warlock spec, that sounds not too bad.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Is it Demo that's next? Or is it Destro?
Yeah, I would say Demo's next.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rate Demo probably a little bit higher than Affliction and B tier, probably like middle B tier.
Okay, we can put it next to Survival, maybe.
It brings similar AoE compared to Season 1, and it brings better single target than Affliction, so I'd probably rate it a little bit higher because of that.
Yeah. How is it with like cooldowns and stuff between these two specs? Is it like, do we just go in and blast, or are you very cooldown oriented? I know Demo used to be very like tyrant oriented, right?
Yeah, so you can usually get access to 1 minute CDs in hierarchies, so get full use of that. And then AF has like Dark Harvest every 30 seconds. So you just continuously blast AoE with both specs pretty much.
Okay. And that sounds pretty nice, because I feel like classes that are very cooldown dependent are extremely awkward to play if you don't play with like a full group. Like Eli Shaman used to be. Apparently, Fire Mage is like that now, where you only do damage in combust, and if the tank doesn't pull big in combust, you're just doomed, you know? But that's good that
Exactly.
you're not like completely locked to your cooldowns, which is, yes.
100%.
Is there anything else that Demo is good that you think from Plus?
I guess just having an additional utility spell that's like your Imp Lord or your Fel Ravager for another Purge or another Magic Dispel, but that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's the normal Warlock utility, right, with Gateway and health stuff. So
Yeah, and then it suffers from having, the longer kick. That's a stun as well, so it's still not great with that.
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, nothing better than when a Warlock stuns a mob outside that's running in a cast.
Yeah, I can't kick mobs into melee, unfortunately.
No. Yeah. All right, so Destro, I actually played a bit with Yargi. He played Destro, but that was in Ultra of Fangs and was like big pulls. So I might have a bit of a, maybe I think it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I would put Destro in the end of A tier. It's definitely better than the other two Warlock specs because it can be consistently pulled around like in hierarchies with massive pulls.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think Destro struggles with then? Like smaller pools, like King's Press, for example, it would be pretty, I assume, pretty horrible to play.
Yeah, on lower target counts, that's where its weakness is for sure.
Yeah. So you think it's a spec where you would, if you were a Warlock main, right, currently, and you only played Warlock, you would not play like only Destro, you would swap by the sounds of it?
Yeah, if you want to, I think you totally can swap between the three specs. I don't think there's something that's completely dominant out of the three in Mythic Plus. I think they can be rotated based on what you need.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's cool, yes. But I think Destro is usually, I feel like it's been the same for such a long time, where in like MDI and in dungeons where there's like massive pools, they're always good, you know? But you would never play them if there's not big pools.
Yeah, and then like your tank pulls out of your AoE and stuff, it feels terrible.
Yeah, I remember I was playing with Jorgen. He was flaming Kira for pulling too slow, so his Cataclysm didn't hit all the mobs or something, and I was very frustrated.
Yeah, it's very position orientated. So like if the position gets messed up by any means, it can definitely hurt your damage.
That sounds like I would be annoying to play with, and plus I would lose my mind. It's like old firemen, like, oh bro, my flame patch, stand still. But
Exactly.
yeah, okay. No, but it sounds like Warlock is in a decent spot. Then it's not gonna be, if you're a Warlock main, it sounds like you will have a decent time, but you're not meta by any means. But they're still not awful, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree. Our defenses are still mostly the same. We bring the same amount of utility, and we still don't bring a raid buff, which we are begging for.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think if you don't bring a raid buff to them, plus it's the same with rogues, right? They, even if they do good damage, they don't bring anything, so they really need to do like insane damage.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to add before moving on?
That's pretty much it for me.
Okay, perfect. Could you DM me your meta prediction? Just 5 specs. What you think would be the meta if you had to guess currently?
Sure.
All right, perfect. And thank you so much for joining last minute. You really saved the day here.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, right. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You as well.
Okay, let's see who we have. The Feral Turbo. Where did we have Yoda, the Shadow Priest, and the Feral. I don't have anyone for Windwalker. Maybe Yoda played Windwalker. Maybe he can help me. Where is the... Wait, I'm blind, I think. Oh. Oh no, here. I gotta call him though. Okay, let's do a quick Feral chat.
Hey yo, can you hear me?
Yo, yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's been a long day, but finally we're getting to my favorite spec, Feral Druid.
Is it really your favorite? Don't worry.
I've actually, the only time I played Feral Druid, it was when I raided with Echo in Season 1 of War Within, and I used Helikilli for my rotation because I don't play Feral.
Oh man, I would have been stoked to see that actually. I didn't, sorry.
Okay, so you have been playing Feral on the PTR, right? But you wanna, first of all, do you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, sure. I'm a Feral OTP player from Europe. They call me Turbogronil. Other than that, I play in physical keys, and I usually play with Monksy, Zach on Soto Melvis on Outlaw, and something like that. With Shannon, usually the top EU physical comps.
Do you have do you
So, yeah.
stream or anything? Do you wanna? I can shout you out to your stream.
Yeah, the same name, Turbogronil. I can link it to you.
Yeah, if you link it to me, I'll send it in the chat if someone wants some
I will,
or some Feral action.
I'm glad to hear that. I would like to see now Feral action too.
I don't think it's gonna be. I will not play Feral, I think, but maybe.
Yeah. Even if I would giving you a false hope about the coming season.
Sorry, say that again.
Even if I could give you some false hope about the coming season.
So false hope. You don't think Feral is good or what?
It's okay. It's definitely strong. I would say lowish A tier.
Okay.
But it has to reunite some conditions, you know, such as of course you won't play Feral without all the free buffs. So being the first most important is the Sky free buff. It's like 8 or 10%, especially with the hero talent.
That's big.
Which is, yeah, it's that big because we also have a component on auto attacks, and it's giving us more ravage, you know. So if you're playing Druid of the Claw, which is the tankiest hero talent, so you will always run that for push keys. You need the Shaman buff, and of course you have the two others physical buffs. So you will never play without a physical comp Feral. It will be absolute dog shit. Definitely not A tier in those conditions. So yeah.
But you think with like a physical comp, you think, because I was talking about where you always want to bring a Druid to the comp, because the last 8 seasons since Market of the Wild got buffed, you always had a Druid in the group. But when you play physical comp currently, it's a bit awkward where you don't really want to bring a Boomkin to physical, and you don't want to bring Guardian either. And I
have some arguments.
Okay.
In the direction of Feral. Okay, so my mind shifted many times those previous weeks, you know, on PTR. First of all, I was thinking it was very strong until last week. I thought it was terrible, and since yesterday, I did actually really well with an in-count build I just cooked. So let's just say that if you can bring a Feral, which cannot die compared to a Boomy, of course, because we have one more Death CD, way better bear form and way better hero talent defensively, which is Druid of the Claw.
Yep.
If you can afford that, Boomy will definitely not make it to the physical comp either, because Boomy dies. Sorry, Tettles, but even if, let's say, Feral doesn't bring that much output, compared to Boomy, well, it has definitely other arguments, which is definitely the survivability, the same utility. So, and definitely quite strong output. We would benefit probably some buff, especially on the range of 1 to 5 target counts, which we are always terribly weak at. But usually, the mates we have in physical comps, it's not our role to pump in those range. We are always a gigapadder. So
wait, you think Feral's a pad spec? I thought it was like
yeah.
Yeah.
At midnight, definitely since midnight, it's only padding, unfortunately. I wish it would do a bit more prior target. It doesn't do 0, but let's say in season 1, for example, we were tank damage outside of Berserk windows, which felt terrible,
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, we have
Is
to
it
play
better
more
now?
ethical. It is a bit better because they buffed an actual talent, which is called Blood Spattered. If you bring some targets to the boss, let's say 5 plus the boss, makes it 6 targets. You have a plus 50% damage on your Perseus Bite, which is very good. So we're all playing that talent right now, but ultimately it just compensates enough the loss of single target you would have without that talent, it seems, looking to some logs. So we definitely don't have that much prior target, and it should still require to play very ethical and very single target oriented rotation, even with funnel, But if you can achieve that, which is not difficult gameplay wise, but you have to think about it, and it's counterintuitive, you will bring some single target and some prior target compared to Midnight Season 1, you see? So it's not that terrible, but yeah, I think overall damage after a whole key, you would have to actually get some buffs, especially in the 1 to 5 target range. Like, let's say, Rebellieful, the ring with Elemental Fire, and King's Rest will definitely be terrible keys. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty
you
much all.
think you think like low target cleave is where Feral lacks at the moment, and
Yeah, it has always been the case. Hopefully, Incarn seems to be playable this season, so in season 2. And we can play the other talent, which is Shaman Guidance, which reduces the CD of Incarn for 30 seconds. So it gives it to be a 130-minute CD, which is way, way, way more flexible than a 2-minute Berserk Convoke setup. Like in season 1. Like, for example, let's say Sit or Triumvirate. Until now, the 4 Rift Warden, as Feral, you could actually CD only 2 Rift Wardens, for example, and you were just sitting here spectating for the 2 others, So it was terrible. Your mates had to kill it. And with Incarn, you would have gotten the chance to actually do damage to all the Rift Warden in some setup, in some route cooking. So at least it seems to be way more flexible than it was in season 1, with a bit better prio, not that much promising, but still better. And if we get, let's say, a buff on the 1 to 5 target range, it will be good. So I don't want to sandbag, and I don't want to
I think it's fair.
But it's fine. It's definitely fine.
I think Feral...
Go ahead, sorry.
It looks like Feral is not as good as Boomkin, but if you're a Feral enjoyer, it's still a decent season for Feral by the sound of it.
In the best condition, it can still deliver, and it will be an okay spec. Definitely strong.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's better than I actually thought about Feral. I thought Feral was kind of, from everything I've heard, it's just been negative things, but you actually think it's a bit better.
Not gonna lie, me neither. Until last week, I wasn't thinking it was that good, to be fair. I just discovered that yesterday and 2 days ago. I'm playing PTR, so...
Okay, perfect. Is there anything else you would want to add to Feral?
I don't think so. If you don't have question, I'm good.
No, I can't ask too much about Feral. I don't play Feral. That's why I have your expertise here. But if you want to do a prediction on what you think is going to be the meta comp for 12.1, feel free to send me a DM, and I'm gonna basically put all the content creators' tier list or like the prediction into a list, and we see if anyone is actually correct.
Okay. I will do
All right.
that.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for taking your
Thank you
time to
for having me.
join.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. That was actually nice because I had no clue about Feral myself, but it looks better than anticipated, I guess. So I think, I don't know if Yoda's still around, but I'm gonna do Shadow Priest really fast, and then I'm gonna talk to Yoda about DK. We're saving the best for last. Let's see if we can pulling the Shadow Priest. Hello?
Hello?
Oh my god, you
Sorry.
actually scared me.
Turn me down. 60. Go to 60. 60 rule
Okay.
with me. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, now it's better. How you doing?
I am doing swell. How about you, man?
I'm good. I'm a bit. It's been a long day. It's been a lot of talking with all the different specs here. So now I definitely need your expertise on Shadow Priest. Do you wanna introduce yourself, maybe?
Yeah, I've been playing Shadow for 10 years now. Been doing a lot of Hall of Fame raiding. Only recently got into keys and started making content, so very new to all this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a? Do you do stream or anything?
I do stream a lot.
Okay. Can you?
Twitch.tv/Loyalxdice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better if you type your stream to me, and I will link it in my chat. I think it's
Okay.
rap godding the Twitch link.
Huh?
If you just link it, I will send it in chat. But
Yeah.
so you've been playing Shadow Priest in 12.1, or?
Yes. I have been doing a lot of PTR keys. I've tested like 20 different builds.
I didn't know you had that many talents. So what's your take on Shadow Priest? You want to rank it, starting with put it somewhere in the list?
Probably, I'd say middle to upper B tier. If you play Misery, the class does like I'd say like the class right now is probably like season 1 Ellie Shaman. Like you do an absurd amount of AoE during your cooldowns, but then after that you're kind of useless. You don't really do damage outside of cooldowns, and you do abysmal single target now. The main thing
Okay.
that destroyed us was the 10% Void Volley nerf. Because we were doing fine outside of that, but then the Void Volley nerf kind of just destroyed Shadow. For keys, at least.
Okay. So where would you put it? Would you said mid B? What did you say?
Probably mid B, yeah.
Okay. I'll put it between Demo and Survival Hunter.
Okay.
I feel like since I don't play Shadow Priest myself, right? But I feel like there's no spec that had like as many changes as Shadow has had to. What is the talent called where you cleave from like your psychic link? What's it called? Is that still a thing anymore?
Yeah, Psychic Link is still a thing. I think Psychic Link is still pretty strong at the moment. I'm under the impression like best case scenario is that they nerf Psychic Link by 5% and then buff for single target. But they added some more cleave to our kit. So they added Shade Burst, really good thing. I think they should expand upon. It's basically your apparitions will explode on your primary target. And then the other thing we got is the Tentacle Slam tier set. So Tentacle Slam is uncapped, which is huge. So you do like a bunch of stack cleave damage. Void Volley was also uncapped, and it also did stack cleave damage. But they nerfed that to the ground. That's pretty much the reason why originally we were doing damage outside of cooldowns was Void Volley. But ever since then, I can't stress enough how bad our single target is. It's pretty bad.
Oh, is it that bad?
It's pretty bad. So there's like another way to go about it too. You could technically play Invoked Nightmare, and I don't know if you've played Invoked Nightmare Shadow, but if you're pulling
I
30
definitely have
mobs, if you're pulling 30 mobs and you have to individually dot them with Shadow Word Pain, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, that sounds pretty
I think
bad.
the one of the pulls I can see this as is like Seat of the Triumph. You know, doing that giant pull with like 0 time to set up. You're just spamming tentacle slams and probably can only throw like 3 Shadow Word Pains.
So is this like just a build issue, or you can play another build for big AoE dungeons, or is this like a general Shadow Priest issue, like dotting?
I think it's a mixture of both. I want to say that I think what Shadow Priest should have is, at least for Shadow Word Pain, it should have like a Twin Moons effect if you're playing Invoked Nightmare.
Yeah.
I think Misery is fine the way it is right now. But yeah, there's like two ways to go about Shadow right now. You can go more towards single target and play towards Invoked Nightmare, or you can just do super AoE with Misery, but
Mhm.
you just do no single target.
So how is Shadow single target if you play like the raid build, let's say, or like the more single focused build? Is it decent?
It's okay, but it's still not like the best. It's
Mhm.
just meh.
So you think Shadow Priest, one big issue currently is that you have to choose between doing AoE and doing single targets.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's
Even if you play like Invoked Nightmare, you do like okay AoE. It's more like sustain.
Mhm. But I
But
mean,
that's pretty much it.
yeah, I feel like the thing with Shadow Priest in like throughout the history of WoW is that it's either like really good or it's pretty shit. It's never now. It seems like it's mid. I don't know if it's actually mid or if you're just really good at Shadow Priest and you make it work. But I feel like it's either just like super strong or pretty like awful.
Yeah, I mean, there's just one build that I'm testing out. It does an insane amount of AoE.
Sounds like a good pug build.
I'm doing. Yeah, it's definitely a pug build. I did like. There's this one altar I did where I just did 400k overall and just dunked on the key because it's literally just a pad build. Like no
Sounds fun
single
though.
target, but yeah, it's like if you're doing like back-to-back giant AoE pulls, it's pretty
Yeah,
good for that.
like Murderer, Starday of Murderer sounds like it would be banging.
Yeah, I think the most I've done on Murder Row is like 1.7 million with the build at peak.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy. That sounds fun though. I mean, that's something. If you wanna, if you if you wanna pad, you at least you have a build for it, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much the single target that really needs the help. Like
Yeah.
I would be okay with like a psychic lake nerf again.
Mhm.
But I think what Blizzard's trying to do is ultimately trying to move away from psychic link, which is why we have something like Shade Burst. But I think at some point they just got to remove it and just buff the crap out of Shade Burst and apparitions. We're losing a lot of apparition damage going into this tier because no tier set. The four
Yeah.
piece gave you like 40% overall apparition damage from both void and normal ones.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like there's some good things going for Shadow, but you need some help, I guess. But mainly, it sounds like it's just a talent issue, right? Where you just have to sacrifice something to gain something.
Yeah, it's that, and I also think the bad thing is that Shadow's a 2-minute class, and it's even worse for PI. Like, I always have to think about, man, it would be really nice if I had cooldowns here, just watching my team nuke the pack, and like, at the same time I PI someone, and it's just completely useless, because I swear like 80% of classes right now are just 1 minutes or 130s.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like one of those things where you kind of want a 2-minute class with you to make it easier, but that's kind of impossible.
Yeah. But what did you say? Is Shadow a 1.5 minute cooldown or 2 minutes? What did you say?
No,
It
it's a
does it
2-minute.
was it 2 minutes? Yeah, that's yeah with P, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. I feel like
Wait, well, no, Void Form's also 2-minute. They're both 2-minute.
yeah. I feel like 2 minute classes are just worse in M plus these days because most specs have become 1.5 minute classes. So if you're playing a 2 minute class, you just don't really line up. Especially if you play like if you want to PI someone as well, right? Like I don't even know what would you want to pair a priest with. Yeah.
So playing a bunch of season 1 because I made title in season 1. I should be safe, Prage. But I think Devour is probably the best one. They kind of don't really care when they get it. They kind of just want it because even if they're outside of meta, it'll help them get into meta faster. Um,
Mhm.
but I played a lot of with Unholy DK and Devour DH. Uh, the problem with playing with like Unholy DK is that it lines up probably 3 times in the key.
Yeah.
It's mainly on the important pulls, but that's like the main issue with being a 2-minute PI class is that it will probably only line up in the important times. Whereas like if you press like on cooldown, it probably won't line up that well.
Yeah. No, It makes sense. So is there anything final you want to add about Shadow Priest? Something we missed, or is that it, you think?
There's a lot of things. Can we please remove Psychic Link? Please, man. I'm tired. I'm tired, boss. This is like we're
Oh.
probably gonna look at like maybe the 50th PL change. Just get rid of it, man. Make my dots do damage. Make apparitions do damage.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any dev watching, please remove Psychic Link, I guess. I feel like, yeah, like I said, there's no ability in WoW that has ever gotten as much like buffs and nerfs as Psychic Link. And if they like 5% difference just makes them like go from extremely good to just shit, I feel like. Or it used to in the past at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last time I remember was a Midrasil, when they made PL like 15%, and it was just completely useless in raid. I was just
Yeah.
watching Netflix that entire tier.
I mean, it sounds pretty good to me. I mean, I'm playing Red Spalla this tier potentially, and I'm not. I think I'm gonna be well. I feel like Red Spalla is the same as Priest, but like you do M+ talent, you do good AoE, you do no single targets. But
Yeah.
anyways, it's getting late here. Something you want to add? One last thing. Feel free to do it.
No, you want to look at this wacky GIF?
Why?
It's all the PL changes.
Wait. When is this from?
It's from Warcraft Priest.
No. But from like what? When? Oh wait, 2016. Oh my god, it has 17 changes. Oh.
I think that was Shadowlands when it was first introduced.
2016. Yeah, I mean, is that Shadowlands 10 years ago? Yeah, it could be. Could be. All right. Anyways, thank you so much for joining on such short notice. Really appreciate it. Do you want to shout yourself out your stream? Maybe I can shout you out one time before we end it here. You're streaming
sure,
PTR every day now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably gonna be about done with. I mean, I don't. We'll see. I'm probably gonna play the 2 builds more. Today and tomorrow. Although I'm probably gonna do Race World last stream tomorrow. But Twitch.tv/Loyalxdice. I also make YouTube stuff. Mainly as priest guides and just my VODs.
Do you have a? Is it the same as your Twitch, or is it a different one?
Yeah, same name.
Okay. Yeah, Loyalxdice on. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining, and I wish you a great evening.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Bye. Okay, let's go to Yoda. I don't know if I found anyone from Windwalker. Also, regarding the Fury Warrior, I saw you guys talk about it in the chat. I have not seen a single Fury Warrior on the PTR because everyone plays arms, so it's super hard to rate these accordingly. And Crit Cake was busy rating, and I don't know. Maybe they're better and see. Maybe Yoda has some input on it. It's just everyone plays arms, so it's super hard to like put them in a good spots. Let's see if Yoda is here. It's around. It's but so late. Okay, let me call Yoda. Oh yeah, shit, I forgot to.
Hello.
Yo, sorry for it being so late. Everything just, I don't know. I thought it would be way faster than it was, and now I'm finally getting to you though. Have you played any Windwalker, Yoda?
Very small amount. There are a couple people in your chat that are looking to talk about it, though. I think.
Oh really? Because I know I reached out to.
Propagated his build throughout all of PTR.
Oh, wait.
And
Oh yeah, Gangnam is
a lot too.
Let's see, Gangnam. You want to wait? That's okay. Perfect. But anyways, you gotta cover DK. I know you've been playing some DK, right? Let's just
some.
let me just read. Can you try speak now?
Hello.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. All right, so with DKs, let's start with the weakest DKs. I feel like this is extremely hard because I feel like most people thought Unholy was weak, but from watching logs lately, I feel like Unholy is really strong as well.
Yeah, I don't even know which one is stronger. Okay, one thing is Frost Decay is unplayable without Shaman, so maybe Unholy would be a little bit better because of that in general.
I feel like this season though, all 3 Shaman specs are so strong, so the chance of you not having a Shaman in your group is very low. Like L, Resto, and Enhancement are all like looking strong. But where would you put Frost, you think, in what tier?
Let's say either bottom of S minus or top of A. I don't know what.
No,
It honestly depends also. Like one of DK's main strengths is that they're really good at surviving keys. And if I don't know if that's gonna matter. If it matters, then they're bottom of S minus. If it doesn't matter, then somewhere in A.
No, I personally I would put DK in S minus just because like they've been if Blood, because we talked about this earlier, me and Kira, where I don't know your take on this, but we feel like you're not doing the highest keys currently on PTR. Like I think you might be doing like 23, like a few weeks into the season or months. And then I'm not sold that like Blood DK will survive the highest keys still, because DK always has an issue where the keys gets too high, you just start flopping. And then you're playing probably Protpala, and then the Frost and Unholy Stones go up a lot, you know, because you do want grip and a lot of keys. You don't need it, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, I believe that could happen, but it's just not Paladin. It's definitely not Paladin.
You don't think so?
No. Paladin season 2 Paladin is worse than season 1 Paladin.
Okay, I mean, yeah, because I don't know. Kira is a strong believer of Protpala. He thinks it's strong. I haven't played so much Protpala.
Normally, I'm a Paladin believer, and he doesn't like it, but this season is opposite.
Okay, so you think like Guardian and VDH are stronger then?
I would play Guardian if it's not Blood DK.
I think so. I mean, Mark of the Wild is like we also talked about that, right?
Yeah, every shit. I think Guardian is probably the best Druid. That's probably the best Druid.
You think it's better than Boomkin?
Boomkin is complete trash.
No way, bro. It's not complete trash.
It's good against if the entire dungeon was target dummies, it'd be okay. But like, if you ever have to kill a mob that's doing AoE to you, it's the worst pack in the game.
I feel like now you're sandbagging Boomkin. Definitely not trash. Like all the Boomkin mains are like cheering for you in the chat now, but I feel like okay, it's fine. We have very different opinions on this. That's completely fine. I think Boomkin is pretty solid. I've been playing it myself on PTR. You do negative single targets, but you bring Mark of the Wild. So yeah. Do you want to talk anything about Frost DK though, before we go to Unholy?
I would say definitely needs a Shaman. And one thing is you kind of have to push your cooldowns when they come up. Like if a boss is at 10%, if you don't push your cooldowns, you will literally do no damage, because one of the things this season is from the tier set, when you use your pillar, you get like a ramping buff. And every time you spend your runes, like you extend, every time your Remorseless Winter ticks, it extends the buff, and you extend your Remorseless Winter by spending runes. So usually what happens is you'll get like a 40-second long buff, and then like you get your next pillar and you get the buff again. But if you like are holding cooldowns at the end of a boss, then you will not be doing any damage because you won't have the buff anymore.
Okay. I mean, is it also the fact that do you have like 1.5 minutes still that you have so you need to send your pillar on cooldown to line it up with your
I think you're playing it's 1.5, so you're playing Rider.
Oh. That's also like another thing where you have to just send. You have to send on send, right? Even if the pack is like 5%, you kind of have to send because if you hold, you will just have to do your 1.5. It's always a bit awkward with those specs, I feel like. But I mean, from what I've seen, Frost DK, I also heard, I don't know, can you confirm this or not, but I've heard that they have some bugs with like Obliterate doing less damage than it's supposed to on single target.
I know absolutely nothing about that.
Okay. That's like, I've heard something that like it should do more damage or something than it is on PTR. But I don't know exactly either. So Frost DK should technically do more single targets, but yeah, we'll see, I guess. Is there anything else you think Frost DK is like? Do you think they have a weakness?
Especially compared to Unholy DK, you definitely need to be like in melee the entire time, because a lot of your damage is based around your auto attack, whereas Unholy doesn't even need to be in melee to use any of their abilities.
Yeah, I mean that's good with Unholy, right? That you literally have range if you. So moving to Unholy, do you think where would you play Unholy over Frost currently? You think?
For mass AoE, I think is definitely the main strength of it.
I was watching I was looking at logs right now. It was some crazy Unholy logs in like Altar of Fangs and I don't know what I'd done this. I was watching, but like, and then I thought I looked at the logs, right, and I was like, surely they do negative single target, because that's what I've been told, that Unholy just does no single target. But they also did decent single target. They were not doing crazy single target by any means, but they were. It was not bad, right? It was just like average, I think. If you compare it to a mage and arms
Like,
warrior,
okay.
yeah, it's like okay. So I was like actually really impressed about Unholy, where I thought it would be worse, but yeah. Do you think that Frost or Unholy could like make its way into the meta for 12.1? Assuming you don't play Blood Decay in this case. Assuming you just
It
like
really
Blood Decay.
really depends if healing the keys is too hard. Because like if you can heal another spec through, like maybe a sub rogue or shaman or a DH or something, then those specs I think would be better damage wise. But you know, if your healer can't do the key, then if you bring a DK now, they can probably do the key. So
Yeah, I feel like that's one of DK's main strengths. Like AMS is also, it's probably the most broken spell in this game. I feel like it's so, and the amount of stuff you can just immune or not deal with when you have AMS is crazy.
yeah, it's actually ridiculous. Especially since it probably works on more things than Cloak. I think as a previous rogue main, it's kind of silly.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I think that's fair. Is there anything? Is there any other spec or something you want to talk about? I know you didn't believe in Protpala. Do you want to add something else?
Well, we already kind of mentioned it. I hate Boomkin. I think Bear is the best Druid, and I think Paladin is worse than Bear.
Okay, yeah. I mean, how much did Tettles pay you? Say this.
Nothing. Well, okay. Full disclosure, I am actually playing Boomkin as my main in the raid.
Ooh,
I
that's why you're sandbagging.
But that resulted in me playing it a lot on PTR and realizing how bad it is.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I think people disagree with you a lot here, but I mean, it's fair. We're everyone can have their own opinion, and I think that's great. Could I ask you to, because I'm collecting information from what people think will be the meta comp for this season. Could you DM me 5 spec that you think, or if you had to pick one comp that would be the meta?
You mean like 1 month in or 12?
Just like for the season, you know, like let's assume nothing gets majorly reworked like we had now with Brewmaster and Guardian, like
okay, yeah, because I mean, like last season, if no one would have said Guardian and then 20%
of course, yeah. But just from the information we have now and maybe some expected nerfs or buffs, whatever you think is going to be the meta.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Let's see if I can get a Windwalker. What did it? Where's the? Okay, let's see. All right, Yoda, thank you so much, and best of luck in your keys and everything you're doing with. Also, nice Blood Decay guide. Actually, I watched that one.
Yeah, thank you. All right, see you later.
All right, GG's. Okay. I know Daehyuun is playing Windwalker. Yeah, I know. I DM'd him on Discord, but he says, "I'm honored, bro, but I think Dabnell is your guy for this." I'm not gonna leak his DM fully, but he's only been playing Conduit Hero Talent. He just needs some confidence. Get around. Yeah, no, Gangnam is here as well. Do you want to join Gangnam? We have 1 spec remaining. It's Windwalker. I think Windwalker is D tier. We need to put something in D. That's C, so unfair to Hunter. Bansherz would hate that. It was Bansherz who rated Hunter. I am kidding with Windwalker. I'm kidding with Windwalker. Relax. I'm just putting it somewhere for now. It's not in D tier. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'm gonna call him. Surely it's gonna pick up. Hello?
Yo,
do you want to rate Windwalker?
yeah, so I think it goes bottom of S or meta fillers.
Okay.
Because
First of all, do
obviously,
you want to introduce yourself before, and did you have a Twitch stream or anything?
yeah. So I go by Daehyuun. That's my Twitch. It's Daehyuun.
Can you just link it in? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it's right there. Sorry.
And I know you're currently doing a lot of PTR as Windwalker, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So what's your Where would you put Windwalker? You said S minus?
Yeah, because obviously Arms Warrior is like probably the best melee in the game right now by far. You want to buff your Arms Warrior, but we've seen in the past like you don't always necessarily need to bring like BIS raid buffs for it to be a meta comp.
Yeah, but I feel like Windwalker does
So-
raise the damage as well, though. Currently, I mean, it's mainly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think it's pad or do you think it's actual?
I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. Like it does do a lot of overall. Like if you look at Dead and Nerlac, I actually have the highest damage overall log for all log runs on the PTR.
Yeah,
But
it's mainly
whether or not
AoE
it's
then, I
actually
assume.
speeding up your key, whether or not it actually speeds up your key, you know, we don't really know.
Yeah.
So I do want to address one thing real quick though, is we don't actually know what's happening to the tuning of Windwalker right now. So the official, like quote unquote, official 12.1 patch notes just came out, and there's notes on there that don't actually like add up with what tuning Windwalker got on the PTR. Like,
Oh, really?
it says spinning crane kick minus 12%, but it's been buffed by 35% throughout the PTR. So, and also, Jet Ignition was buffed by 80%, but it says plus 50%. So, we don't actually know like what exactly is going on. You know,
Yeah.
like a dev note from Blizzard would have been nice to say like, hey, this is minus 12% from what is on PTR, or we've reverted the buffs to spinning crane kick we previously added in. It's minus 12%.
That makes
as
no
well.
sense though. That they would just remove.
Yeah, it actually it makes no sense. Yeah, it makes no
that's
sense.
so weird.
It would have been really nice to get some communication from Blizzard on that one, but yeah, so we don't really know. And also, I've not played Shadow Pen. I played like one key of Shadow Pen because it's just like abysmally boring. Blizzard, if you're listening, please, 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 for the love of God, add back Emperor's Capacitor somehow, maybe to like the hero talent of Shadow Pen. Like Shadow Pen is just like desperately missing like one or two things to make it more fun. Like it's just god awful to play, in my opinion.
So what's like?
So,
why
yeah,
is
but-
it so awful to play? You you're missing somebody. Is it like? Does it add to play or is it just like boring? There's a big difference between like
Yeah.
feeling bad and just being bored. Right?
I mean, you probably spend like 80% of your rotation just hard casting a slow Fist of Fury. It's,
Okay.
Like it not only is it boring, but it makes it hard for you to like actually interrupt and CC
Yeah, that's true.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, Conduit, like they both perform good around the same. I think you could play either one and probably do fine. Shadow Pan's probably easier to slot into like just a random pug route because it has 60-second cooldowns versus 90. So for
I feel
most
like
people, you probably want to
90.
play.
I'm sorry, but I feel like 90 is kind of what you want to have. Maybe if you're pugging, but if you when you get to a point where the routes are quite similar between different groups when you're pugging, I feel like most specs are just 90 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, but
And
for most people, it's easier to get value out of 60-second cooldowns.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
would say.
Yeah, but then you would play Conduit if you want 90 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also want to address another thing. There's kind of this like rumor going around that Windwalker does no prio, does no single target. And if you look at logs, this is true. But I want to say that it's a bit unexplored how to play fully optimally because one, spinning crane kick has been bugged on Sims and it only recently has been fixed. So we weren't actually able to like stim different things, different playstyles and whatnot, because your tier set basically buffs your next rising stun kick or spinning crane kick after you fist. So you get to choose. But Blizzard kind of missed the tuning mark on it because it's more single target to actually spinning crane kick. So you actually would never rising stun kick with this buff, ever.
Even on single target?
Yes.
What the hell?
The one exception is there's square root scaling beyond 5 targets on spinning crane kick. So if, say, Ruby Lifepool's first boss, your pile damage from spinning crane kick will be abysmal. So that's the only exception.
Yeah, but then it's like overall to press spin though. So would you actually press like
of
maybe
course,
if you're playing maybe if you're playing in a set
overall.
Yeah, if you're playing in a set group or competing in MDI, maybe press. But if you're pugging, there's no way you hit a rising
if you're
sun
pugging,
kick.
there's no way you're rising sun kicking.
Yeah, there's just no way, bro. There's no way. Yeah. But do you think it's like? Do you think it's higher up in S minus then, or do you think it's like on the lower end? I feel like Windwalker is extremely
I think it's
strong.
on the lower end. I personally
Lower
think
end?
it's on the
Yeah.
lower end. Yes.
Do you think it's fine where it is now?
It's hard to really say because it's like I said, it's still really unclear like what Blizzard's actually trying to do with the tuning. Like it's sorry to ramble, but it's very clear that Blizzard doesn't want us to press spinning crane kick and single target. Going into midnight, they removed the damage amp from Dance with GG. Like you remember back in
Yeah,
Shadowlands, if you got a Dance with GG, you were absolutely blasting. Right?
Yeah, I know, but at the
now,
same time, sorry, interrupting, but the Windwalker was actually from playing MDI with Windwalker. It was really good in Shadowlands and MDI, but it was the worst spec I've ever played MDI with. Because if you got 2 procs, like GG procs in your cooldowns, the pack would die 30 seconds faster, or like it's crazy.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But in War Within, your damage doesn't rely on it. You still press it in single target if you got a proc, but it's not like you were doing no damage if you didn't get a proc. So I feel like it was in a good spot, but I don't know, for whatever reason, Blizzard doesn't want you to press it in single target because they just got rid of the damage amp on it in midnight.
Yeah.
So it's only free. So yeah.
But you still press it now, or you said after your, or was it after your tier set?
Yeah. So even if you have a proc or not, you're always pressing it after you Fist of Fury. You're never spending it on Rising Sun Kick, but I have a feeling that's going to change.
Though. Yeah, I feel like
I have a feeling that's going to change. Yeah.
But I feel like overall Windwalker is you would say it's in a lot better position now than this season, right? Yeah, I feel like if you're a Windwalker main, I think you have something to be excited about. Unless Blizzard, I have a feeling, where Windwalker has a chance to perform really well on some boss fights in the raid, and then it will just get slapped after the race, and then it will just average at best. That's what
apparently
I'm like.
Last Boss has a damage amp, and Conduit is a fuck ton of burst, so could be good.
And they have like Windwalker still has crazy burst AoE and burst in general as well, right? So like if there's ads,
we probably have the best AoE burst in the game right now, I would say. Like Last Boss Murder Row, you completely hard carry that boss, in my opinion. As long as you play well, you save your cooldowns for the ads, which I mean, you probably honestly should, because there's not many other classes that can actually dish out the amount of AoE burst that Windwalker can do. So.
Yeah. So, a hot topic about Windwalker is like, can you survive high keys though? Even if you do insane damage, you can't survive, you do 0 damage because you're on the floor, right? Do you think you could play Windwalker currently in the highest keys? Let's say that you are the weak spec, so you do get some help. Do you think you can survive the highest keys?
I think it depends. Like, it's hard to say really, because the highest key we've been playing on PTR is 20, right? And 20 feels actually pretty easy.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Even with the Evoker, which I think is like the hardest hero to play, I actually feel pretty comfy in 20s, but you have to play really well defensively. So Windwalker actually hasn't played Conduit at all in Midnight. You've played Shadowpan in all forms of content. Conduit actually has a defensive node where you get 15% DR when you Conduit, and for 8 seconds after. So think about it. On a boss, you're only getting 2 or 3 casts to Conduit anyway, so you can kind of time it to where you can use it as a defensive. If you do this and you rotate Fort Brew with it, you actually feel pretty comfy on some bosses, I would say. The thing you struggle with is, like, dude, in Ruby life pools, I feel like I'm fighting for my fucking life, because in the first area, right, the big guy does the dot, and then the Earth Shapers also dot people. If you get double dotted and you don't have anything, you're absolutely dead. Even if I get double dotted and I karma, sometimes I die through it.
And isn't karma kind of weak now, though?
Yes, I mean it absorbs about the same as a mage absorb, so it's pretty trash. Yeah, and then you get to the second area, the fire guys dot you, and the casters as well. If you get double dotted by that, you're also dead. Like the amount of times I've died through karma with that, I feel like incredible. Like
a lot of specs are dead from that though. Like I don't feel like that's a unique Windwalker thing. I feel like, for example, if you play Ret Pala or something, you don't have wall and you get those two, you're also dead. You know, like a bubble. But I feel like a lot of specs are just like that, where they cannot really. You have like one defensive on a 2-minute cooldown or 1.5, and then if you don't have that one, you just fried. You know?
Another problem is that you're most likely going to be playing with their Resto Shaman, and their single target healing isn't like not the best.
Yeah, I mean, if you play Windwalker, it's probably with Resto Shaman, right? Plus whatever arms for you. Plus Outlaw maybe.
Yeah, you almost have to, because you know if you're playing Windwalker, you still need a Lust class. Pretty much every Lust DPS is squishy, right? You can't really afford to have 2 squishy guys in your key if Windwalker is already fairly squishy. So you're pretty much hard locked into playing Prez or Resto Shaman.
Yeah, I feel like it's always been the same case with physical combat, where you do play Resto Shaman or melee Resto Shaman, I guess. It just buffs the melee as well, right, with Sky Fury. Is there anything else you would like to add about Windwalkers before we end this fantastic tier list?
I mean, like I said, bring back Emperor's Capacitor somehow in some way. That was just like, that was just pure peak. And War Within, like War Within Shadowpen was actually fun to play. Like you had a buff to manage where you could like perma buff your agility, and you also had, you know, your lightning, which was actually fun to play around. But now it's like complete snooze fest to play in midnight.
Yeah, but you said Conduit is still fun, right? That's like the fun hero talent currently.
Oh yeah, Conduit's fun. Yeah.
Do you think Conduit is? I remember you were in my stream chat and you said that Conduit is one of the harder melee specs. Was that cap or is that actually true? Do you think Conduit is actually hard
Well, I'm
to play?
biased. Obviously, I'm gonna be biased and say yes, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't play every spec in the game, but like between when I play like Outlaw and Enhance, I think Conduit is harder. Yeah.
Between Retpalla and Conduit Windwalker, what do you think
Brother,
is hard?
come on.
I think Retpalla might be a tiny bit harder.
You were trolling, bro. Come on.
Oh, kidding. No, but it's for sure. It looked like I was watching you play. It looks really fast paced. So it looked really fun to play. But I see where the issues can come. That it's really fast paced.
Yeah,
right?
it's very fast paced. That's that's what's hard about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, actually, Windwalker used to be my favorite spec to play. Is when I started like taking WoW somewhat seriously. I played. I do. It's still somewhat similar from MOP, but of course a lot of has changed along the way. But I'm excited for Windwalkers. I also like a Windwalker in my group. I think they're good utility. I also something we didn't notice or talk about is that they have decent utility for this season, like Poison Dispel and I mean Sweep and Ring of Peace are always just good, right?
Yeah.
All right. So any final words? I'll promote your Twitch stream again for the people that want to watch some Windwalker PTR gameplay. You're streaming basically every day, right? I think.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much for joining and giving your expertise on Windwalker monks. Really appreciated you coming in last minute.
Yep.
All right. Good one. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so fried, chat. This took way longer than I expected. I was gonna do. Oh wait, I didn't tell him to. Shit. Wait. Can you do a meta comp? Cause I expected to do this meta comp thing from all the people that joined. I will do that tomorrow instead because I haven't eaten dinner yet, and I need to clean and stuff. So tomorrow we're gonna look what people predict as meta. We're gonna make a comparison between with all the content creators. What happened with Rogue up there? Apparently Sub Rogue was bugged and got hotfixed, and